On high martial blue star, ferocious beasts ran rampant, while powerful martial artists dominated all. Su Ming, who had transmigrated here, possessed outstanding martial talent and ranked among the top in martial arts scores. Yet because he failed to awaken a supernatural ability, the school docked his stipend. When he came to the school to demand an explanation, he was expelled instead. Fortunately, he awakened the deep blue system, which granted him enhancement points every time he killed a beast, and moreover allowed him to plunder abilities from the beasts. Linjiang City, Linjiang No. 1 High School. Director Wei, why isn't my name on this month's list of special hardship student subsidies? Inside the grade director's office, Su Ming spread a list flat on Wei Jiaxing's desk. According to Linjiang City government regulations, students from major high schools who rank among the top 10 in blood chi within their grade and come from financially disadvantaged families are entitled to a monthly subsidy of 200 credit points from the government for purchasing cultivation resources. In last month's blood chi test, Su Ming's blood chi reached 318, ranking 5th in his grade. According to the regulations, he should have received 200 credit points this month. Facing Su Ming's questioning, Wei Jiaxing reached up to adjust his black-rimmed glasses, not even glancing at the list Su Ming had placed on his desk. He had made the list himself, so he knew the situation without looking. He turned to Su Ming, a professional smile on it. Su Ming, the government's special hardship subsidy is intended to support gifted students from poor families to go further on the path of martial arts. Although your grades are good at yesterday's awakening ceremony, you did not awaken any supernatural ability. You know the gap between an ordinary martial artist and an awakened one, so I removed your name. After all, Linjiang City has to distribute subsidies to so many students every month, and the pressure is immense. Good steel must be used on the blade. I think you should understand that the opportunity should be given to true geniuses. Having said that, Wei Jiaxing put on a righteous expression. Director Wei. Hearing that it was Wei Jiaxing who had removed his name from the list, Su Ming's tone suddenly became harsh. I've read the government regulations. The special hardship subsidy depends only on blood chi ranking and family conditions. Even if I haven't awakened an ability, my blood chi rank in last month's test was still 5th in the grade. According to the rules, even you as grade director cannot arbitrarily give my spot to someone else. Wei Jiaxing's brow furrowed slightly, his voice sharpening. Student Su Ming, mind your attitude. Yet Su Ming did not back down, his stance resolute. Director Wei, am only fighting for what is rightfully mine. If you think my attitude is bad, fine, I won't bother you any longer. He'll go straight to the city government to explain the situation. Having said that, Su Ming turned and left without any hesitation. It wasn't that he was greedy for the monthly 200 credit points, but he had an urgent reason to obtain that subsidy. Originally, Su Ming's family circumstances were decent. Both his parents were first-rank martial artists, and he had a cute younger sister. But in the year he entered high school, a beast tide claimed his father Su's life, and his mother Lin Wanru was severely wounded, barely clinging to life. Su Ming used up all the family savings just to keep his mother alive, but that was all he could do. Because Lin Wanru was too badly injured, only taking the water of life could fully heal her. She had been in a coma ever since. The water of life was a 7th-rank heavenly treasure worth 10 billion credit points. To Su Ming, 10 billion credit points was an astronomical figure. Su Ming could only choose to keep his mother on life support at the hospital, using a life-sustaining device costing 200 credit points per month. Meanwhile, his sister had just started middle school, and their cultivation and daily expenses also required money. The hardship subsidy he had previously received was all spent on Lin Wanru. He even took on a part-time job just barely to cover his and his sister's daily expenses. If the hardship subsidy were cut off, the consequences would be unimaginable. That was why Su Ming was so anxious when he learned that the school had removed his name from the subsidy list against government regulations. Su Ming, I advise you to stay put in school and not go anywhere. Su Ming's last sentence made Wei Jiaxing spring up from his seat, threatening him. Yet Su Ming did not pause, he walked straight out of the office. Seeing that Su Ming completely ignored him, the smile faded from Wei Jiaxing's face, his facial muscles stiffening. After a long moment, Wei Jiaxing took a deep breath, turned on his computer, and his fingers quickly danced across the keyboard. Su Ming's file appeared on the screen. If you think I'm afraid of that. Naive. Staring at Su Ming's student file, Wei Jiaxing snorted coldly and quickly operated the computer. 2.5 hours later. He actually expelled me. Wei Jiaxing, your thing. Su Ming walked out of the city hall, unable to contain his rage any longer, and immediately burst into curses. He hadn't expected Wei Jiaxing to directly expel him from Linjiang No. 1 High School. Just now, when the city hall staff checked Su Ming's identity information, they found that he was no longer a student of Linjiang No. 1 High School. Without student status, no matter how high his blood chi, he could not receive the government's hardship subsidy. Time is running out, I have to find a way to earn money. After a good round of cursing, Su Ming finally vented some of his anger and took a deep breath. Now was not the time to stay furious. There was only 1 week left before the hospital payment was due, and the most urgent thing was to get money. But earning 200 credit points in a week was easier said than done. He racked his brains, but could not think of any job in Linjiang City that could earn him 200 credit points in such a short time. I guess I have to try my luck at the Martial Association. If I'm lucky, I might even get into a martial artist team as a porter. In the end, Su Ming made a risky decision to go down into the underground caverns. The underground caverns were a collective term for all the otherworldly realms connected to this world. Inside were many terrifying beasts extremely dangerous. Yet despite that, martial artists flocked to them. Because not only were there cultivation resources that could help martial artists enhance their strength, but even the fierce beasts themselves were treasures from head to toe. Not only could the sharp fangs and claws of beasts be used to make weapons, but their flesh and blood could be refined into precious medicines to nourish a martial artist's blood chi and enhance cultivation. Inside the underground caverns, all of Blue Star's technology became useless. Therefore, martial artists who entered the caverns to hunt beasts had to carry out the beast materials themselves. Even for a martial artist, carrying a load of materials while fighting would affect their combat ability. So many martial artist teams, when going into the caverns to hunt, would specifically recruit some weak temporary members to carry things. These temporary recruits didn't need to fight the beasts. As long as they survived and brought the materials out of the caverns with the team, they would receive a handsome commission. That was exactly what Su Ming was banking on. Of course, entering the underground caverns also involved great risk. After all, even powerful martial artists could fall in the caverns, let alone someone like him, whose blood chi was only 318, less than half the minimum blood chi standard for a martial artist. Nevertheless, Su Ming decided to take a gamble. He hailed a taxi and rushed toward the Linjiang City Martial Association. The Linjiang City Martial Association was thronged with people. Martial artists of all kinds of attire came. Su Ming arrived at the association hall and stared at the huge electronic screen in the center, which scrolled through one task after another, hoping to find a recruitment task for temporary members. Soon Su Ming realized he had been wishful thinking. Among the scrolling information, the teams recruiting temporary members set a requirement of blood chi above 5. Someone like him with only 318 blood chi, a high school student like him, was completely ignored. Since the emergence of the underground caverns, the physical condition of people in this world had generally improved. On Earth, a healthy adult's blood chi was around 1 point, but in this world the average person's blood chi had reached 5. 5 points of blood chi was more than 3 times that of a healthy adult in this world. A physique like that could carry more materials in the caverns. After being turned away by several martial artist teams in a row, Su Ming couldn't help but feel a sense of despair. Su Ming, it really is you. I thought I was mistaken. At that moment, a slightly familiar voice reached his ears. Su Ming followed the sound and saw a 4-person team approaching. At the forefront was a tall woman with a high ponytail, her demeanor cool and aloof. The woman wore a combat suit emblazoned with the Limitless Martial Arts Hall logo, a long blade slung across her back, her bearing heroic and agile. Coach Xin. Su Ming paused, recognizing the woman as one of the coaches at the Limitless Martial Arts Hall, where he had previously worked as a sparring partner, a second-rank martial artist, Xin Minghan. Why are you at the Martial Artist Association? Su Ming had been diligent as a sparring partner at the Limitless Martial Arts Hall, with decent blood energy levels. Xin Minghan held a favorable impression of him, and seeing him at the association couldn't help but ask curiously. To be honest, Coach Xin, I'm in urgent need of money right now, so I thought I'd try my luck as a porter. Su Ming said, revealing a helpless, bitter smile. Hearing Su Ming's words, Xin Minghan frowned slightly. Su Ming, think carefully. The cavern is extremely dangerous. With your current strength, even encountering a first-rank beast could be life-threatening. I know it's dangerous, but I really need the money. Since that's the case, why don't you come down to the cavern with us? We happen to need a porter, and I don't want to waste time finding someone else. Xin Minghan looked at the urgency and resolve in Su Ming's eyes, paused for a moment, and extended the invitation. Thank you, Coach Xin. Don't worry, I won't hold everyone back. Su Ming was overjoyed, immediately patting his chest to assure her. Oh, isn't this the beauty from Limitless Martial Arts Hall, Xin? What's this? Can't find anyone, so you're scraping the bottom of the barrel with this greenhorn. Ha ha. Just then an untimely laugh rang out. A stocky, bald man, with a face full of coarse flesh, wearing a Thunder Martial Arts Hall uniform, led his team over. He crossed his arms, sneering at Su Ming and Xin Minghan. The Thunder Martial Arts Hall and the Limitless Martial Arts Hall had always been at odds. The burly man's team members chimed in. Brother Bear, look at that scrawny kid. Probably not even enough to fill a beast's teeth, right? Is Limitless Martial Arts Hall this desperate? Bringing such trash into the cavern? Don't wet your pants. And Xin Minghan's face hardened. She cast a cold glance at the bald man. Cheng Xiong, who I choose to bring, is none of your business. Mind your own affairs. Su Ming, let's go. With that, Xin Minghan ignored Cheng Xiong and his men, leading Su Ming and her team. That bitch. I hope they all die in the cavern. Cheng Xiong spat viciously as he watched them leave. On the other side, Xian Menghan led Su Ming out of the Martial Artist Association, then drove them to the entrance of No. 3 Cavern. Su Ming, these are Fong Mo, Guanshan, and Xiaomo. They are all first-rank martial artists. On the way, Xian Menghan introduced her 3 team members to Su Ming one by one. Fong Mo was a short-haired woman with black-rimmed glasses in her early 20s, her weapon a long spear. She appeared very capable. Guanshan and Xiaomu were both men around 30, their weapons identical to Xian Menghan's, long blades. Welcome, little brother Su Ming. After the introductions, Fong Mo was the first to greet Su Ming with a smile. Guanshan and Xiaomu also nodded in acknowledgement. Su Ming returned the greetings one by one. Su Ming, I remember you're quite skilled with the spear. I have a spare dark iron spear in the trunk. When you pick up your pack, bring it along. It'll give you some support inside the cavern. Seeing that everyone had exchanged greetings, Xian Menghan spoke to Su Ming. Su Ming responded with a grateful. Soon the 5 of them arrived at the No. 3 Cavern, 20 kilometers from Linjiang City. After equipping their gear and passing through the strict security check by the defending army stationed outside, they entered the passage leading to the cavern. Passing through the passage after a brief dizziness and weightlessness, Su Ming's vision opened up. The sky was a murky yellow, the air thick with a faint odor of decay and blood. Most of the surrounding vegetation appeared in eerie dark purple or ink green. From afar came the roars of unknown beasts, making one involuntarily tense. This was the cavern world. They'll take point. Guanshan, bring up the rear. Fong Mo and Xiaomu watch the flanks. Su Ming, stay in the center. You don't need to fight, just collect materials. Understood. Upon entering the cavern, Xian Menghan immediately issued commands, her gaze finally settling on Su Ming, who was quickly surrounded by the team. Su Ming nodded heavily, tightening his grip on the dark iron spear. A flicker of excitement sparked in his tense eyes. Let's move out. Upon this, Xian Menghan took the lead and the rest followed. Although No. 3 Cavern was the lowest level cavern near Linjiang City, with beasts ranked no higher than second rank, the danger was still not to be underestimated. The team hadn't gone far before they encountered a beast. It was Su Ming's first time seeing a live beast. Before him was a rat the size of a cat with gray-black fur and a pair of half-foot-long fangs. When the creature saw the team, without hesitation it reddened its eyes and charged straight at them. This is a first-rank beast, sharp-toothed rat, the lowest existence in the cavern. Its intelligence is low, its attack and defense weak, but its speed is not slow. Many rookie martial artists cut their teeth on sharp-toothed rats when they first enter the cavern. Watching the charging rat, Xian Menghan unhurriedly educated Su Ming, then looked at Fong Mo. Fong Mo severely wound this rat, then let Su Ming get used to it. Yes, Captain. Fong Mo responded, her blood energy surging. She stepped forward, her long spear extending like a dragon emerging from the sea. With a splash, the spear pierced clean through the sharp-toothed rat. Little brother Su Ming, this one's for you. Amid the rat's agonized squeal, Fong Mo flicked her spear, and the sharp-toothed rat, with a gaping hole in its chest, was flung before Su Ming. At that moment, all 4 members of Xian Menghan's team had their eyes fixed on Su Ming, waiting to see. Su Ming watched the rat, its body convulsing weakly, more breath out than in. He understood that Xian Menghan and Fong Mo were doing this to get him accustomed to the sight of blood. Contrary to everyone's expectations, Su Ming didn't hesitate. He drove the dark iron spear straight into the rat's skull. Clang! The spear tip struck the rat's skull with a crisp sound. So hard. Su Ming was startled by the resistance from the dark iron spear. Although the sharp-toothed rat was the weakest beast, it was still a first-rank beast, its body much tougher than ordinary animals. Again, his first attempt failed. Su Ming withdrew the spear and slammed it down at the rat's head again. This time he mobilized all his blood energy. With the burst of blood energy, the thrust was twice as strong as before. With a wet crunch, the dark iron spear pierced cleanly into the rat's head. The quivering creature went rigid. Ding! First beast kill successful. Conditions met. Deep Blue system activated. Newbie gift pack has been distributed. Please check host. The moment Su Ming killed the sharp-toothed rat, a cold mechanical voice echoed in his mind, leaving him frozen in Deep Blue system. Newbie gift pack. My golden finger has finally arrived. 17 years. I've been transmigrating to this world for 17 years. Do you know how I've been through these 17 years? Su Ming was startled by the cold mechanical voice in his mind, but then intense excitement surged through him, his pupils trembling slightly. The slight discomfort from his first kill of a beast was swept away by this tremendous surprise, and the corners of his mouth involuntarily lifted. Su Ming, what's wrong? Xian Menghan's clear, cool voice came, her gaze towards Su Ming tinged with a hint of surprise and concern. Fong Mo, Guanshan, and Xiaomu also looked at Su Ming with strange expressions. The faint smile that appeared on Su Ming's lips at this moment completely caught them off guard. Thinking back to when they first became martial artists and descended into the underground cavern to hunt beasts, the bloody scenes they encountered had all made them feel uneasy. Yet after Su Ming's first kill, he showed no sign of discomfort, but but instead smiled, which made them involuntarily wonder if Su Ming had some peculiar habit. No, nothing, just too excited. Xian Menghan's question jolted Su Ming from his immense joy. He pulled the dark iron spear out of the fanged rat's skull, his expression quickly returning to normal. Seeing this, Xian Menghan breathed a sigh of relief. Little brother Su Ming, not bad. Although the fanged rat was severely injured, you acted decisively and finished it with 2 strikes. Your mental fortitude is far stronger than many newcomers on their first descent into the cavern. Fang Mo, shouldering his spear, walked towards Su Ming with a smile. Hearing Fang Mo's evaluation, Guanshan and Xiaomu also cast approving glances. They had seen too many newcomers' pathetic performances when facing dying beasts. Su Ming's performance just now had indeed exceeded their expectations better than they had anticipated. It's not safe to stay here. Fang Mo helped process the materials. Once Su Ming packs them, well, leave immediately. Sensing the spreading scent of blood from the fanged rat's corpse, Xian Menghan timely interrupted their conversation and looked at Fang Mo. Fang Mo nodded, drew a black gold dagger from his waist, and quickly went to the fanged rat's corpse. He removed the pair of dagger-like fangs and put them into the large pack on Su Ming's back. Then the 5-member team continued deeper into the cavern. While marching, Su Ming diverted part of his attention to the newly bound deep blue system. An extremely simple blue translucent panel floated within his consciousness. Host Su Ming, Physique 3. 18 Spirit 3. 0 Ability, None Body Tempering Technique, Morning Sun, Rising, D. Advanced Meditation, Method, None Martial Art, Vajra Spear, Art, D. Intermediate Enhancement Points 0. Detected a newbie gift pack. Open. The body tempering technique Su Ming practiced was a basic technique distributed free by the Quan Hanxia government to all middle school students nationwide. It was said to have been adapted from the national primary and secondary school calisthenics before the Great Cataclysm and was ranked D. As for the martial art Vajra Spear art, it was left by Su Ming's father, also a D-level martial art. The proficiency of martial arts and body tempering techniques from low to high was divided into beginner, intermediate, advanced, and perfection. The higher the proficiency, the greater the power of the martial art that could be unleashed. For example, Su Ming's current Vajra Spear art at beginner level entry allowed him to exert 1. 2 times combat strength, intermediate level 1. 5 times advanced level 2 times, and perfection level 2. 5 times. Similarly, the higher the proficiency in the body tempering technique, the greater the increase in physique. While glancing at the system panel, Su Ming's attention was caught by the last line. He immediately focused his mind and murmured silently, "Open the newbie gift pack." Ding. Newbie gift pack opened. Rewards obtained: enhancement points 100, class ability, Crown of the Ice Emperor, class ability. Seeing the rewards from the newbie gift pack, Su Ming's heart began to beat uncontrollably. According to Su Ming's knowledge, the ability tier classification in this world from low to high was FEDCBAS. Class ability was the highest among all ability tiers. Such a top-tier ability had never appeared in the entire history of Linjiang City. Only 1% of martial artists could awaken abilities. Therefore, even the lowest class ability could change a martial artist's fate and make them a respected awakener. In Linjiang City's history, the strongest ability ever awakened was only class. Even at yesterday's awakening ceremony, among the students who awakened abilities at Linjiang No. 1 high school, Lin Man, who awakened the class fire ability Blazing Prairie, was already the highest strength genius of ability tier in Linjiang No. 1. Yet Su Ming now possessed its class ability. Ding. Do you want to fuse this class ability, Crown of the Ice Emperor? Note ability fusion will be accompanied by related phenomena. Do you choose to hide the phenomena? After obtaining this class ability from the newbie gift pack, the system added 2 more prompts. Fuse, hide the phenomena. Su Ming made his choice immediately. Whoosh. The moment Su Ming gave the mental command, an extremely cold, yet incredibly docile energy surged from the deepest part of his body, without warning, instantly flowing through all his limbs and body, finally converging into his brow. Within his brow sea of consciousness, a crystal crown emanating frigid cold hovered above Su Ming's soul, adding a noble, icy, all-controlling sovereign aura to his soul. Strange energies fell from this crystal crown, nourishing Su Ming's soul. In an instant, Su Ming felt his mind was clear and refreshed, and even his perception of the surroundings became several times sharper. An overwhelming sense of power surged, making every cell in Su Ming's body seem to cheer. Su Ming subconsciously looked at the system panel. Host Su Ming, Physique 5. 0 Spirit 30 Ability, Crown of the Ice Emperor, S Body Tempering Technique, Morning Sun, Rising, D. Advanced Meditation, Method, None Martial Art, Vajra Spear, Art, D. Intermediate Enhancement Points 100, Physique increased by 182, and Spirit has soared to 10 times its original. Seeing the attributes after fusion, Su Ming gasped inwardly. 10 times the original mental power. The terrifying enhancement of class ability on the Spirit attribute completely exceeded his expectations. The standards for a first-rank martial artist and a first-rank awakener were physique reaching 10 points and spirit reaching 10 points respectively. Su Ming's current mental power had already reached 3 times the threshold of a first-rank awakener, not weaker than the mental power of a first-rank intermediate awakener. My mental power has already reached the level of a first-rank awakener. As long as I go to the Martial Artist Association for rank certification, I can obtain the status of a first-rank awakener. Then I can descend into the cavern alone to hunt beasts. And I will no longer have to worry about my mother's medical expenses. After discovering his skyrocketing mental power, Su Ming's eyes shone with excitement. All the gains from hunting beasts in the cavern alone would be his personal earnings far more than the income of being a system. Are these enhancement points used to upgrade martial arts and superpowers? Can they raise the levels of superpowers and martial arts? Su Ming calmed his excitement, his eyes falling on the enhancement points column of the system panel as he silently inquired. Enhancement points can be used to learn martial arts body tempering techniques and meditation methods, and to increase proficiency, as well as to evolve superpowers and raise their ranks. The system panel immediately responded the moment Su Ming's thought settled. Just as I thought. Then besides the newcomer gift pack, are there other ways to obtain these enhancement points? Enhancement points can be obtained by hunting ferocious beasts. The higher the rank of the beast, the more points gained. Additionally, hunting ferocious beasts offers a chance to plunder their superpowers, including, but not limited to, natural, superhuman, spatial, and psychic types. System, you're awesome. Su Ming mentally gave a thumbs up as he looked at the system's function introduction. As far as I know, Shrank is already the highest rank for superpowers, yet my Shrank Crown of Ice can still evolve. What rank lies beyond Shrank? Amidst the surprise, Su Ming turned his attention to the Shrank's Superpower Crown of Ice and tapped the sign behind. Shrank's Superpower Crown of Ice 0. While evolving in Shrank's superpower is not something I should consider right now. Seeing that evolving the Shrank's superpower required 1,000,000 enhancement points, Su Ming had no choice but to turn his gaze to the martial arts and body tempering technique he currently possessed. Degrade body tempering technique Morning Sun, Rising, 80,100. Degrade martial art Vajra Spear Art, 50,100. System max out the proficiency of Vajra Spear Art and Morning Sun Rising. Seeing that his current 100 enhancement points could fully raise the proficiencies of Vajra Spear Art and the body tempering technique to the maximum, Su Ming did not hesitate. 70 enhancement points transformed into 2 torrents flowing into the body tempering technique Morning Sun Rising and the martial art Vajra Spear Art respectively. In an instant, the proficiencies of Morning Sun Rising and Vajra Spear Art reached perfection. A flash of enlightenment glimmered in Su Ming's eyes, and countless profound insights regarding these 2 arts surged into his mind, fully mastering them. When Morning Sun Rising reached perfection, Su Ming's blood energy increased by another 2 points, reaching 7 points. As Vajra Spear Art attained perfection, an intangible sharp aura swept across Su Ming's body. Just then, Xian Menghan, who was clearing the path ahead, suddenly turned to look at Su Ming in the middle of the group. But after carefully examining him, she found nothing unusual. Where did that aura go? Am I too tense in imagining things? Xian Menghan frowned, puzzled. Woo. Yet this confusion dissipated with a fierce beast's roar. Xian Menghan immediately turned back, staring ahead with vigilance. Fang Mo Xiaomu and Guanshan also paled slightly, drawing their weapons and staring nervously at the figures emerging ahead. Su Ming also looked toward their direction of vigilance. He saw ferocious beasts with manes like lions on their necks, resembling hyenas, but more robust, appear in his line of sight. These beasts were stocky and muscular, their savage eyes fixed on the team members, thick saliva dripping from exposed fangs. Lion mastiffs. Recognizing the beasts, Su Ming recalled one of the ferocious beasts from the 100 Beasts Atlas he had read in the school library. Though lion mastiffs were first-rank ferocious beasts, they were among the stronger ones. Adult lion mastiffs possessed first-rank latest strength. Even more terrifying, lion mastiffs were pack hunters. Each hunt involved at least 5 or 6, sometimes dozens. Faced with dozens of adult late first-rank lion mastiffs, even a newly promoted second-rank martial artist would flee in panic. Woo. Amid the piercing howls, a full 16 adult lion mastiffs surrounded Xian Menghan's 5-person team. Several lion mastiffs quickly locked onto Su Ming, sensing his weakest aura, the easiest prey. Everyone close in on Su Ming and prepare to fight. Sensing the lion mastiffs target, Xian Menghan's expression changed as she shouted sharply. As her words fell, she took a step back to stand before Su Ming. The other 3 moved to his side, almost simultaneously forming a back-to-back circle around Su Ming, their weapons aimed at the surrounding lion mastiffs. Woo. The moment Xian Menghan and her team moved, the surrounding lion mastiffs launched their assault simultaneously. 7 or 8 gray-brown figures darted like lightning from the rocks and woods, lunging straight at the team. Kill. Xian Menghan let out a sharp cry as her formidable blood energy erupted her long blade, carving a fierce arc through the air. The single strike instantly sent a lion mastiff flying, blood splattering as it collapsed. With one blow she disemboweled and killed the late first-rank lion mastiff on the spot. So strong, Su Ming exclaimed inwardly as he experienced Xian Menghan's explosive power up close. Her burst of blood energy was at least 30 times his, putting her minimum blood energy at 210 points. Overlord Blade. Flowing Cloud Spear. From the other three directions, Fong Mo and the others also channeled their blood energy and unleashed their respective martial arts. All three were late first-rank martial artists. Though their martial arts were grade, they had achieved high proficiency, allowing them to double their combat power. But compared to Xian Menghan, they were much weaker. Against the same rank lion mastiffs, they could only repel them and inflict minor wounds, unable to kill them. Just defend against their attacks and don't get hurt, leave the rest to me. Xian Menghan's cool voice rang out after she killed a lion mastiff. A flash of the blade, and another lion mastiff fell to her sword. Fong Mo, Guanshan, and Xiaomu all nodded, guarding tightly around Su Ming and fending off the lunging lion mastiffs. Meanwhile, Xian Menghan struck decisively, each swing claiming another lion mastiff. The team worked in perfect sync. Even the frenzied pack could not breach their defense or harm Su Ming. In less than half a minute, most of the 16 lion mastiffs lay dead. The remaining 6 lion mastiffs ceased their assault, widening the distance. Their eyes filled with terror fixed on Xian Menghan, who had just displayed her might, and they were already thinking of retreat. Roar! Just as the team thought the lion mastiffs would flee, a louder roar echoed, and a ferocious aura that made Fong Mo's heart quiver rapidly approached. No good. It's the lion mastiff king. When a lion mastiff as huge as an ox, twice the size of a normal one, charged, and even Xian Menghan gasped, her face extremely grim. Lion mastiff king, a second-rank, ferocious beast. Su Ming looked at the lion mastiff king, his eyes narrowing. Although the lion mastiff is a first-rank ferocious beast, there are extremely rare individuals that can break through their limits and become the king of the lion mastiff pack. The lion mastiff king before them had already reached the early stage of the second rank. Within Xian Menghan's team, only Xian Menghan could match it in battle. Roar! As Su Ming was examining the lion mastiff king, it had already charged to the front of the team. Its eyes, gleaming with ferocity, were filled with a craving for the flesh and blood of human warriors, and the next moment, it launched an attack. Beast, taste my blade. Xian Menghan let out a light shout, her blood energy surging throughout her body. Holding a long saber, she charged out to intercept the lion mastiff king. The lion mastiff king was a second-rank, ferocious beast of formidable strength. Xian Menghan had to keep it far enough from the team, otherwise if the battle between her and the lion mastiff king affected first-rank warriors like Fong Mo, casualties would be inevitable. Awoo! Seeing Xian Menghan leave the team to block the lion mastiff king, the fear in the eyes of the remaining 6 lion mastiffs vanished, and they charged toward Fong Mo and the others once again. Without Xian Menghan, a second-rank warrior, to shoulder most of the pressure, Fong Mo and his 2 companions, all late first-rank warriors, were besieged by twice as many lion mastiffs, multiplying their burden. Moreover, all 3 had to be careful to protect Su Ming. After several exchanges, Fong Mo was the first to reveal a weakness. Fong Mo, watch your right. Guanshan shouted. Among the 2 lion mastiffs locked in battle with Fong Mo, one took advantage of a gap in Fong Mo's frontal attack, suddenly darted from his blind spot, and opened its bloody maw to bite directly at his calf. Not good. By the time Fong Mo noticed, it was too late to dodge completely. At this critical moment, Su Ming, who was behind Fong Mo's flank, moved. He thrust his black iron spear with full force. The grade martial art, steel spear art, made his strike flawless, and the black iron spear carried a 2.5-fold power amplification, striking swiftly and fiercely into the shoulder blade of that lion mastiff. 7 points of blood energy, 2.5-fold combat power amplification. Su Ming's spear strike had a full 175 calories of power, already surpassing the standard of 100 calories for a first-rank warrior. Bang! A dull sound echoed. Su Ming's right hand gripping the spear trembled as a tremendous force struck, forcing him to step back half a pace. After all, the lion mastiff was a late first-rank, ferocious beast capable of matching a late first-rank warrior. A late first-rank warrior's blood energy is generally above 70 calories, and their combat power can easily exceed 700 calories. Although Su Ming could unleash strength comparable to a newly promoted first-rank warrior without using his ability, there was still a huge gap between him and a late first-rank warrior. However, although Su Ming's strike failed to repel the lion mastiff, it successfully delayed it for a moment, allowing Fong Mo to narrowly evade this ambush. Thanks. Fong Mo broke out in a cold sweat. He swept his spear back to force the wounded lion mastiff back, thanked Su Ming with lingering fear, while a flicker of unnoticed surprise passed through his eyes. Then he resumed his battle against the 2 lion mastiffs. My current strength if I don't use my ability is still a bit weak. But with my current spiritual power of 30 Hz, if I fully unleash the Ice Crown ability, I should be able to fight the second rank ferocious beast Lion Mastiff King. Su Ming stood with his spear watching the battle around him while constantly calculating in his mind. Heavenly Scale Blade Technique. After the time it takes to drink a cup of tea, Xian Ming Han let out a light shout and executed her blade martial art. She finally dealt a heavy blow to the Lion Mastiff King, leaving a wound over a meter long and deep enough to reveal bone on its body. Whoa! The Lion Mastiff King let out a painful roar and dared not stay any longer. Where do you think? However, Xian Ming Han did not give it a chance to escape. She executed the Heavenly Scale Blade Technique, once more completely killing the Lion Mastiff King. Whoa! After the Lion Mastiff King died, the 6 Lion Mastiffs, still struggling with Fong Mo and his companions, let out a mournful howl and fled in all directions with their tails between their legs. Huff! Finally it's over. Fong Mo and the others saw this and did not pursue, but instead gripped their weapons tightly, heavy gasps rising and falling. Even Xian Ming Han, a second-rank warrior, had her chest heaving rapidly. Obviously the battle just now had also exhausted them considerably. Let's clean up the battlefield together, then go back. After resting for a while, Xian Ming Han said to everyone. Fong Mo and the others all nodded in agreement. Although this time they entered the No. 3 underground cavern for a shorter duration than ever before, they not only encountered a pack of Lion Mastiffs, but also the Lion Mastiff King. Having killed 1 second-rank Lion Mastiff King and 10 late first-rank Lion Mastiffs, the materials from these ferocious beasts combined were worth no less than their usual harvest from the No. 3 underground cavern. The group quickly cleaned up the battlefield, skillfully cutting off the skin's teeth and claws from the Lion Mastiffs. They also used special containers to collect the remaining blood from the Lion Mastiffs' bodies. After a quarter of an hour, the backpack on Su Ming's back was stuffed full, piled higher than his own head. Even so, they couldn't fit all the materials. In the end, they made a temporary beast-hide bag from the skin stripped off the Lion Mastiff King, and only then could they pack the remaining materials. Guanshan carried it, and they all headed toward the entrance of the underground cavern. Brother Xiong, isn't that the team of that woman from the Ultimate Martial Arts Gym? Did they finish their hunting mission so quickly today? Just as Xian Ming Han's team was approaching the entrance of the underground passage, a sharp-eyed member of Cheng Xiong's team, who had just exited the passage, pointed at the distant direction of Xian Ming Han's approaching team and exclaimed to Cheng Xiong. If it really is them. They're damn lucky, actually killing a Lion Mastiff King. Hearing this, Cheng Xiong looked up, and his gaze fixed on the Lion Mastiff King pelt carried by Guanshan. He gave a cold snort, his tone tinged with jealousy. Xian Ming Han had also long noticed Cheng Xiong and his team at the passage entrance. Seeing that they deliberately avoided her team, a smile curled at the corner of her mouth. Xian Ming Han had also long noticed Cheng Xiong and his team at the passage entrance. Seeing that they deliberately avoided her team, a smile curled at the corner of her mouth, but she said nothing more. The group carried their harvest from this underground cavern, passed through the passage, and returned to Blue Star. After stuffing all the ferocious beast materials into the trunk of the car, Xian Ming Han drove everyone back to Linjiang City. Su Ming, today's trip yielded a good harvest. This is your compensation. After processing all the ferocious beast materials, Xian Ming Han transferred 200 credit points to Su Ming. 200 credit points, Coach Xian, isn't this a bit too much? Su Ming looked at the transferred credit points, his expression showing surprise. Under normal circumstances, a porter can only get 5 of the team's harvest from a single trip. Better teams might give an extra 1 share. According to Su Ming's estimation, the ferocious beast materials from this trip were worth at most around 200 credit points. 200 credit points already accounted for 1/10 of this trip's harvest. You performed well in the underground cave today. If not for your timely assistance, Momo might have been injured. Xian Ming Han smiled as she saw the surprised expression on Su Ming's face. Then thank you, Coach. Upon hearing this, Su Ming finally understood. He thanked Xian Ming Han, took his leave, and then hurried toward Linjiang City Central Hospital. Captain Su Ming is a promising talent. You seem to have a good relationship with him. Why not formally recruit him into the squad? After Su Ming left, Fong Mo stepped out from a corner nearby and proposed to Xian Ming Han. Hearing this, Guanshan and Xiaomu both nodded, looking expectantly at Xian Ming Han. Earlier in the underground cave, they had all sensed the power of the shot Su Ming had fired to rescue Fong Mo. Especially Fong Mo, who was closest, confirmed that the power of Su Ming's shot had already reached the level of a first-rank martial artist. Su Ming, despite his youth, already possessed the strength of a first-rank martial artist. If he joined their squad in the near future, they would gain another second-rank martial artist, greatly increasing their combat power. Having 1 more second-rank martial artist would bring tremendous benefits to everyone in the squad. Don't get your hopes up. Su Ming is still a third-year high school student at Linjiang No. 1 High School. He is a genius who can gain admission to Hanxiao Martial Arts Academy. How could a low-level martial artist squad like ours ever keep him? Xi and Minghan glanced at the others and shook her head with a helpless smile. She hadn't had the chance to inform them about Su Ming's student status earlier. What? Su Ming is still a student. Upon hearing Xi and Minghan's words, Fang Mo and the others were visibly startled, then all wore expressions of regret. Since Su Ming was a third-year student at Linjiangno One High School, he had only 1 month left before the National Unified Martial Arts Examination of Hanxia. Every year among the examinees in Linjiang City, no more than 10 possessed the strength of a martial artist. Such students were invariably recruited by the key martial arts academies across Hanxia. They understood that a gifted student like Su Ming would surely shine brightly in the martial arts examination, be recruited by a martial arts academy, and have a boundless future. At the very least, he would become a third-rank martial artist after graduation. Just as Xi and Minghan had said, such a genius was not someone a squad like theirs could hold on to. Linjiangno One High School. Chen Jingwen, the homeroom teacher of Class 1 Grade 12, stormed into Principal Wang Xingguo's office with indignation on her face and placed a report on his desk. Principal, I want to report that Director Wei violated the rules, deducted Su Ming's subsidy for students with financial difficulties, and even expelled Su Ming afterwards. Chen Jingwen was furious. Su Ming was her student. He ranked among the top in both liberal arts and martial arts, and he was modest. She deeply cherished such a student. Little did she expect that when she arrived at school this morning, Su Ming was absent. After class, she immediately investigated and quickly discovered that Su Ming had been expelled. She also learned from Su Ming's deskmate that he had gone to the grade director's office that morning about the subsidy. Chen Jingwen first sought an explanation from Wei Jiaxing, but to her surprise, Wei Jiaxing offered no explanation, directly admitted to his actions, and behaved arrogantly. Only then did she storm off to find Wang Xingguo, the principal of Linjiangno One High School, to seek justice for her student. Teacher Chen, there's no need to be so upset. It's just expelling a student, nothing major. However, Wang Xingguo's next words stunned Chen Jingwen. She looked at him in disbelief. Principal Su Ming is a top student, not an ordinary one. Even without awakening a special ability, his blood energy value still ranks in the top 5 of the grade. He is a seedling with the potential to enter a martial arts academy. Wang Xingguo, unmoved by Chen Jingwen's agitation, shook his head calmly and said, Su Ming is no longer a student of Linjiangno One High School. Let this matter rest. Do not mention it again. Hearing Wang Xingguo's words, Chen Jingwen questioned him with utter disappointment. Principal, just because Director Wei is your brother-in-law, are you going to cover for him like this? Teacher Chen, you are out of line. Chen Jingwen's remark finally made Wang Xingguo lose his composure, and he reprimanded her harshly. Su Ming has not awakened a special ability. With his current blood energy below 4, he will not be able to achieve a martial artist's strength in the martial arts examination. He is ultimately mediocre. Moreover, Su Ming openly threatened the grade director. Director Wei expelled him to uphold school discipline. There is absolutely no problem. If there is nothing else, Teacher Chen, you should return to your class. With that, Wang Xingguo issued a dismissal. Principal, you will regret this. Seeing Wang Xingguo's expression, Chen Jingwen was utterly disappointed. She left those words, and without saying more turned and walked out of the principal's office. Only she knew that since Su Ming started high school, all the government-issued subsidies had been used on his mother. He never bought any supplements to aid his own cultivation and spent a lot of time on part-time jobs. Despite this, Su Ming's blood energy ranking remained in the top 5 of the grade, surpassing most students who could afford to take chi blood powder every month for cultivation. Such martial talent meant that even without awakening a special ability, Su Ming would undoubtedly achieve no small success in the future. No, with Su Ming expelled from Linjiangno One High School, he loses the qualification to take the martial arts examination. If he cannot take the exam and enter a martial arts academy for further studies, his talent will go to waste. I must think of something. After leaving the principal's office, Chen Jingwen calmed her emotions, and her mind began to race. Soon she thought of an acquaintance at Linjiangno 7 High School. Since Linjiangno One can't keep Su Ming, why not let him go to No. 7? Tonight I'll find someone to go with me to Su Ming's home and explain the situation to him. After coming up with a plan, Chen Jingwen finally felt relieved and continued to class. Meanwhile, on the other side, Su Ming went to the city central hospital, paid the full amount for the month, stayed by the bedside of the still unconscious Lin Wan for a while, then left the hospital and returned to the Martial Artist Association. He needed to undergo a martial artist evaluation at the Martial Artist Association. Only by becoming an official martial artist and obtaining a martial artist certificate could he pass the inspection by the garrison at the entrance to the underground cave and gain permission to enter alone. Moreover, official martial artists received a monthly subsidy of 1 dose of chi blood powder from the Martial Artist Association. Chi blood powder is refined from the essence blood of ferocious beasts. It promotes the growth of a martial artist's blood energy and is quite expensive. A single dose costs as much as 5,000 credit points on the market. 5,000 credit points were enough for 2 months living expenses for an average family of 3. Let me first go to the warm-up room to test my current combat power. After arriving at the Martial Artist Association, Su Ming found a private warm-up room and entered. The Martial Artist Association provides warm-up rooms for martial artists fully equipped with blood energy, spirit, and combat power testers. These rooms allow martial artists about to undergo rank evaluation to adjust their state and perform at their best during the assessment. Inside the warm-up room, Su Ming closed the door and walked straight to the weapon rack, selecting a metal long spear. Then he approached the combat power testing target, took a deep breath, and thrust the spear forward with both hands. Boom. The long spear struck the testing target, emitting a dull rumble. 10, 30, 50. The numbers on the combat power tester leaped. Boom. The long spear struck the testing target, emitting a dull rumble. 10, 30, 50. The numbers on the combat power tester leaped rapidly, finally settling at 178. Without pausing at the number displayed, Su Ming continuously executed the grade martial art Vajra spear technique, which he had already mastered to perfection. Thrust, stab, lift, flick, chop, split. The long spear in Su Ming's hands whirled with fierce momentum, striking the testing target repeatedly. The numbers on the tester kept jumping: 173, 175, 178, 175, 176. After dozens of strikes, Su Ming's combat power remained around 175 calories. A combat power of 175 calories, just as I estimated. Even if there are slight differences between each strike, the gap is negligible. After finishing the set of spear techniques, Su Ming nodded lightly at the combat power value on the tester. Next, I'll test the ability. Su Ming put away the long spear and closed his eyes. His mind reached out to the ice crystal crown in his sea of consciousness, and in an instant the crown trembled, releasing a startling surge of cold. At the same time, the temperature in the warm-up room plummeted and a layer of frost formed beneath Su Ming's feet. Su Ming's eyes snapped open. He raised his hand and waved toward the testing target, and a white beam of light radiating chilling cold shot from his fingertips, striking the target in an instant. Crack! Crack! In an instant, the entire target was encased in layers of ice, and the ice crystals still emanated astonishing cold. 50, 100, 300. Meanwhile, the numbers on the tester danced wildly, finally stopping at 15000 cal. 15000 cal combat power. This great ice crown's combat power amplification is actually as high as 50 times. Seeing the final combat power value, Su Ming's pupils contracted sharply and his face showed shock. But then the shock on his face turned into ecstasy. Under normal circumstances, the combat power from an ability using the same mental power and the combat power from physical energy using blood and chi were almost identical. 1 point of mental power and 1 point of blood and chi each produced 10 calories of combat power. Su Ming's 30 points of mental strength yielded 150 cal of energy output, demonstrating the terrifying amplification of this great ability, Ice Crown. I still underestimated the terror of its great ability. At my current output of 150 cal, I am no weaker than a latest-stage second-order martial artist. If I had used this ability against the second-order initial stage Lion Mastiff King I encountered in the underground cave, I could probably have killed it instantly. Now let's try to control the intensity of the ability. Su Ming looked at the combat power value on the tester, and in his excitement, he began to manipulate his ability repeatedly, trying to control the power of the outburst. About 20 minutes later, Su Ming walked out of the warm-up room with a confident smile on his lips and headed toward the Martial Artist Association's rating area. Su Ming submitted his identity information and was arranged into a testing room. Su Ming, 17 years old, so young. Looks like a genius. The testing staff member, a nearly 40-year-old middle-aged man, glanced at Su Ming's information and showed a surprise. Then he looked at Su Ming entering the testing room, his eyes brightening, and said with anticipation, "So you are Su Ming. As long as your blood and chi reaches 10 points and your combat power reaches 100 calories, you can become a formal martial artist. Go ahead and test." He was eager to see what level this young man had reached. Su Ming, upon hearing this, didn't hesitate and immediately began the test under his arrangement. The martial artist assessment first tested blood and chi. Seeing Su Ming's finger pressed on the blood and chi meter, the middle-aged tester's gaze immediately fell on the displayed number. But soon his expression froze. Blood and chi 7. 0. Blood and chi 7. 0. That's not up to the standard for a first-order martial artist. Is this kid here to mess with me? Seeing the 7. 0 blood and chi on the meter, the middle-aged tester's face darkened, and he was about to mark unqualified on the result. However, just as he was about to write, his hand stopped. His gaze followed Su Ming as he moved to the mental power. Mental power. He wants to test mental power. Could he be an awaken? Buzz. Mental power 30 hiss. Mental power is actually as high as 30 points. That's already the mental strength of a first-order intermediate awakened. Seeing the test result on the mental power tester, the middle-aged tester's eyes widened, and he drew a sharp breath. But what Su Ming did next made his breath catch. Su Ming, after completing the mental power test, went directly to the combat power testing target. He flicked his finger, and a thin white ice pillar suddenly burst forth, striking the target heavily. Crack! Crack! In an instant, the combat power testing target was encased in layers of ice. The numbers on the combat power tester leaped rapidly, finally stopping at 1800 cal. 6 times combat power amplification. That's the amplification intensity of a great ability. He is a great ability awakened. 1800 cal combat power, which is 300 calories higher than the second order initial stage martial artist's standard threshold of 1500 cal. And he's only 17. A genius. Absolutely a genius. Seeing the final number on the combat power tester, the middle-aged tester's heart pounded wildly, and his shock washed over him like waves. Does this qualify me as a formal martial artist? Compared to the shock tester, Su Ming was much calmer. He glanced at the number and turned to the middle-aged man in charge. Yes, absolutely. Please wait a moment, they'll process the formalities for you. After hearing Su Ming's words, the middle-aged tester snapped back to reality and quickly replied, even using polite language. After recording Su Ming's test results, the middle-aged tester quickly uploaded them to the Martial Artist Association system. In less than 3 minutes, the review passed smoothly. This is your martial artist certificate. From today on, you are a formal martial artist of the association. After completing the procedures, the middle-aged tester respectfully handed the certificate to Su Ming. First order awakened. Su Ming took the certificate and murmured as he read the information. Yes, your mental power has reached the first order level, and you possess a powerful ice ability, so you are naturally an awakened. Awakened have a higher status and better treatment than ordinary martial artists. Every month you can receive 2 doses of blood chi powder and 1 meditation pill from the association. The middle-aged tester added immediately. The chi blood powder can promote a martial artist's blood and chi, with a portion costing 5,000 credit points. The spiritual pill can enhance a martial artist's mental strength, and on the market the price of 1 spiritual pill is 4 times that of a portion of chi blood powder. Awakened ones receive a monthly subsidy of 300 credit points from the Martial Artist Association, 6 times that of ordinary martial artists. This treatment is indeed much higher than ordinary martial artists. Everyone says that awakened ones have higher status than ordinary martial artists. Today I have witnessed it myself. Su Ming listened to the middle-aged tester's words and nodded silently. Subsequently, Su Ming inquired about how to receive the monthly subsidy from the Martial Artist Association from the middle-aged tester, and then left the test room. Leaving the Martial Artist Association, Su Ming held in his hands 2 portions of blood-red chi blood powder and a jade bottle that emitted a cool aura and was pure white, his heart filled with myriad emotions. This was the treatment of an awakened one. Just 1 month's subsidy almost equaled twice the government assistance he used to receive, and was an amount he could only earn after working part-time for a long time. Su Ming did not delay at all, and immediately took a bus back to his home in the old city district of Linjiang City. It was a slightly outdated 2-bedroom apartment with simple but neatly arranged furniture. His younger sister Su Xiaowei had not yet returned from school. Su Ming returned to his narrow bedroom, sat cross-legged on the bed, and regulated his breathing. He did not rush to take the pills, but first began practicing the Drank body refinement technique that he had already reached the perfection realm. After reaching the perfection level of the Rising Sun technique, each of Su Ming's body refinement moves was extremely perfect, and he only practiced the complete set of moves once. Although he only trained for 10 minutes, Su Ming's body was already drenched in sweat, and a stream of heat flowed through his body. The perfection level body refinement technique, when activated, provides training effects on the physique, far surpassing when it was at the advanced level. Just 1 round of practice is equivalent to 5 rounds from before. As soon as he finished 1 round, Su Ming couldn't help but exclaim in awe. With just 1 round, he felt his blood and chi stir, and the effect was no less than practicing the technique 5 times when it was at the advanced proficiency level. After his exclamation, Su Ming repeated the moves 2 more times. As the 3rd round ended, he felt his blood and chi suddenly rise by a trace, and he immediately opened the system panel. Chi and blood 701. Sure enough, it increased by 0.01 chi and blood, equivalent to the effect of practicing the body refinement technique 15 times before. Looking at his own cultivation, practicing the Rising Sun technique 3 times increased his chi and blood by 0.1. Su Ming was overjoyed. Before today, he had to spend 2.5 hours practicing the body refinement technique 15 times to increase it by 0.01 chi and blood, but now the perfection level body refinement technique shortened his time by 80. The perfection level body refinement technique is indeed miraculous. It's all thanks to the system. Now let's try the effect of the chi blood powder. Su Ming silently praised the power of the system enhancement, then took out a portion of chi blood powder, lifted his head, and swallowed it without hesitation. The chi blood powder dissolved upon entering his mouth, instantly transforming into a scorching but not violent torrent that surged into his limbs and bones. This energy was pure and immense, far surpassing the weak energy he usually absorbed from food. Without any hesitation, Su Ming immediately performed the body refinement moves of the Rising Sun technique. As each body refinement move was perfectly executed, Su Ming's body began to frantically absorb this torrent of energy, rapidly converting it into his own blood and chi power. Su Ming felt every cell in his body rejoicing and greedily absorbing this rare nourishment of energy. His body was like parched land finally receiving rain, with his blood and chi beginning to rise and strengthen at a perceptible rate. Only after Su Ming had practiced the Rising Sun technique a full 6 times did he completely absorb and convert the last trace of energy. By now Su Ming had already removed his clothes. His skin was slightly flushed all over, his body scalding hot, and sweat evaporated into mist that rose upward from his body heat. Ignoring his profuse sweating, Su Ming eagerly looked at the system panel. Host Su Ming Chi and 51 Mental 30 Superpower Ice Crown S Body Refinement Technique Rising Sun D Perfected Meditation Technique Nun Martial Art Diamond Break D Perfected Enhancement Points 30. In one session my chi and blood actually increased by 0.5. Without the chi blood powder, practicing 6 rounds of the body refinement technique would only increase my chi and blood by 0.02. The chi blood powder boosted the training effect by 25 times. Is this the power of resources, eh? Su Ming took a deep breath, experiencing for the first time so intuitively the importance of cultivation resources. However, he did not know that the reason taking the chi blood powder yielded such great effects was mainly because his perfection-level body refinement technique could fully absorb the medicine's potency, and his own martial arts talent was also superior to ordinary prodigies. The combination of the two led to such tremendous progress. Again, delighted, Su Ming lightly shouted, took the remaining portion of chi blood powder, and continued training. Another hour later, the effects of the chi blood powder were fully absorbed, and Su Ming stopped training. At this moment, Su Ming's chi and blood had reached 8.01. With 8.01 points of chi and blood, even without using his superpower, relying solely on the 2.5 times combat power boost of the perfected diamond spear art, his physical combat power had reached 205 ka. Galoo. After training continuously for 2.5 hours, his stomach growled, and a strong sense of hunger struck him, forcing Su Ming to temporarily put aside the idea of continuing cultivation. He quickly took a shower, went to the restaurant downstairs, and ate a full 5 portions of food before returning home satisfied. Next, let's try the effect of the spiritual pill. Back home, Su Ming did not continue practicing the body refinement technique, but instead turned his gaze to the spiritual pill, took it out, and placed it in his mouth to swallow. Mental strength affects superpower power, so enhancing mental strength is equally important. As the spiritual pill entered his mouth, a cool aura instantly surged into his mind, merging into the sea of consciousness at his brow. The noble ice crown in his sea of consciousness trembled slightly, emitting joyful ripples, greedily absorbing this pure mental power. Su Ming felt his mind become unprecedentedly clear, his perception sharper, and even his control over his superpower seemed to have become a bit more refined. In just a quarter of an hour, the medicinal power of the spiritual pill was fully absorbed by Su Ming. Mental 32 mental strength increased by 0.2 points, seemingly small, but Su Ming's strength superpower has a 50 times combat power multiplier. With a 0.2 increase in mental strength, the maximum burst power when Su Ming fully unleashes his superpower increased by a full 100 ka. Taking the spiritual pill to enhance mental strength causes no discomfort. That is to say, if I have enough spiritual pills, I can quickly improve my mental strength. It seems I'll need to get a lot more spiritual pills in the future. After absorbing all the medicinal power, Su Ming glanced at his mental attribute, murmured, a sharp light flashing in his eyes, and then continued practicing the body refinement technique. Brother, I'm home. At dusk, a girl with a high ponytail and delicate features opened the door, calling out while changing her shoes. The girl was none other than Su Ming's sister, Su Xiaowei. Xiaowei's back. They'll start preparing dinner right away. Su Ming, who had been cultivating in his room, heard the commotion outside, and immediately emerged, wiping the sweat from his brow with a smile. Su Ming felt a little embarrassed. He had been so immersed in the joy of his enhanced blood and spiritual power that he had forgotten about his sister entirely. With that, Su Ming headed toward the kitchen. Brother, let me help too. Seeing this, Su Xiaowei promptly followed, lending a hand with her usual thoughtfulness. Bang! Bang! Just as they were about to start cooking, a knock came at the door. Who is it? Both Su Ming and Su Xiaowei paused, exchanging a glance that betrayed their confusion. They'll go see. Su Ming opened the door and was taken aback. Standing outside was none other than his homeroom teacher from Linjiang No. 1 High School, Chen Jingwen. Beside Chen Jingwen stood a bespectacled middle-aged man with a scholarly demeanor. Su Ming. Chen Jingwen greeted him with a warm smile. Teacher Chen, what brings you here? Please come in. Chen Jingwen had always treated Su Ming well, so he held great respect for her and quickly invited them inside. Hello, Teacher Chen. Su Xiaowei greeted her obediently, then went to the kitchen to pour tea for both guests. Chen Jingwen looked at Su Ming, her eyes filled with regret and concern. Su Ming, I'm sorry. I only learned today that you were expelled. I went to see Director Wei and Principal Wang, but they... She let out a heavy sigh, her face showing both disappointment and indignation. They were obstinate and disregarded the rules. I couldn't get justice for you. Hearing this, Su Ming was deeply moved and quickly said, Teacher Chen, please don't say that. It's not your fault. I'm already grateful that you stood up for me. Let's not dwell on the past. Having witnessed Wei Jiaxing's true colors, Su Ming now understood how rare it was to have an upright teacher like Chen Jingwen. Chen Jingwen nodded, then introduced the middle-aged man beside her. Su Ming, this is Director Lu Wen, the Dean of Academic Affairs at Linjiang No. 7 High School. He is also my college classmate. I told him about your situation and No. 7 High School is willing to accept your transfer so you can take the martial arts examination next month. Lu Wen adjusted his glasses and said with a gentle smile, Su Ming, Jingwen has told me about you. Both your academic performance and martial arts achievements are outstanding. Although our overall resources at No. 7 High School may not match No. 1 High School, we would never let a talented student go unnoticed, nor would we commit the absurd acts of withholding subsidies or arbitrarily expelling students. On behalf of Linjiang No. 7 High School, I sincerely invite you to transfer. We will do our utmost to resolve your student registration issues. With that, Lu Wen extended his right hand to Su Ming. Transfer to Linjiang No. 7 High School. Su Ming hesitated. If this had been before his trip to No. 3 Underground Cave, he would have accepted without a second thought. But now that Su Ming had awakened his system with his current strength, he could earn enough money by hunting ferocious beasts in the underground caves and selling their materials to cover his mother's medical expenses and his family's living costs. He no longer needed the government subsidies. As for the martial arts examination a month later with the system, he could gain enhancement points by slaying beasts and continuously improve his strength. It seemed unnecessary to take the exam and enter a martial arts academy. Thank you, Teacher Chen. Thank you, Director Lu. Su Ming stood up and expressed his gratitude, then changed his tone. I no longer intend to take the martial arts examination. I'm afraid I'll have to decline your kind offer. Well, Lu Wen withdrew his right hand, awkwardly not knowing what to say. Beside him, Chen Jingwen grew anxious and said to Su Ming, Su Ming, don't be impulsive. With your martial arts talent, you have a good chance of being admitted into a martial arts academy. And I know your family situation well. Your mother needs the water of life, but it's a 7th grade heavenly treasure, priceless and hard to obtain even with money. However, those martial arts academies possess many high-level resources. Entering such an academy might allow your mother to wake up sooner. Chen Jingwen understood Su Ming's family circumstances and knew what mattered most to him. Sure enough, the moment Chen Jingwen mentioned the water of life, Su Ming shuddered. Teacher Chen, does the martial arts academy truly have the water of life? Chen Jingwen nodded. I can't guarantee for every academy, but top-tier ones like Jingqing Martial Arts University and Modu Martial Arts University, both ranked in the national top 10, certainly have no shortage of it. As soon as she finished, Su Ming nodded firmly with conviction. All right, I'll transfer to Linjiang No. 7 High School and take the martial arts examination. Excellent. I love your confidence. Beside them, Lu Wen glanced at Chen Jingwen, and Su Ming a slight twitch at the corner of his mouth. Getting into a top 10 national martial arts academy was no easy feat. In this year's examination, fewer than 10 students from Linjiang City would be admitted to such academies. One was bold enough to promise and the other bold enough to believe. But since it was a favor for his old classmate, Lu Wen merely muttered to himself and then said to Su Ming, in that case, I'll start the paperwork tomorrow. At the latest, you can begin classes at No. 7 High School the day after. As for the financial aid for students in extreme poverty, after you enroll, the school will conduct a blood and qi test. If your qi is among the top 10 in your grade, we will apply for it according to the regulations. Even if the government subsidy is issued early, the school will find a way to give you some reward. After hearing Lu Wen's words, Su Ming shook his head. Director Lu, I don't need the financial aid or the school's supplemental support. I'd like to request a month's leave and only return to school for the martial arts examination. Su Ming's only thought now was to descend into the underground caves to hunt ferocious beasts. He had no intention of wasting time in school. Very well, as you wish. Lu Wen hesitated for a moment, but after seeing Chen Jingwen nod, he finally agreed. After a bit more conversation, Su Ming saw Chen Jingwen and Lu Wen to the door. The grade director and principal of Linjiang No. 1 High School are utterly despicable. Having grasped the situation while watching Su Ming escort the two downstairs, Su Xiaowei clenched her fists, seething with anger, her eyes reddening. Only now did she realize how much injustice her brother had suffered that day, and her heart ached. Brother didn't want to go to school. He must have been thinking about taking on part-time jobs to pay for mom's medical expenses. I'm already in high school now. Oh, I should help share the burden. Gazing at the open door, Su Xiaowei made a silent resolution. The next morning, after sending Su Xiaowei to school, Su Ming once again arrived at the Linjiang City Martial Artist. In the task hall of the Martial Artist Association, Su Ming used his martial artist certificate to accept a mission to hunt saber-tooth rats and collect 20 pairs of their fangs. He also purchased a detailed map of the outer area of the No. 3 cave, a large climbing backpack, and a sharp boning knife for cutting beast materials, then took a vehicle straight to the entrance of the No. 3 cave. The rewards from the Martial Artist Association for missions are usually higher than directly selling beast material. If not for the fact that all the hunting missions at the Martial Artist Association had been taken by other martial artist teams, leaving only this simple one, Su Ming would have certainly accepted more than one hunting mission. After passing through layers of military guards, Su Ming arrived at the entrance of the No. 3 cave. The guards at the cave entrance strictly inspected everyone entering. Such a young first-order awakener. When Su Ming showed his martial artist certificate representing his status as an awakener, the soldier looked at him in surprise. After verification by the machine, the soldier immediately returned the certificate to Su Ming, saluted him with profound respect. Su Ming smiled and nodded in response, put away his martial artist certificate, and stepped into the cave entrance. After passing through the deep tunnel, the familiar dizziness and weightlessness passed, and Su Ming once again set foot in this dim yellow world where the air still reeked of decay and blood. Su Ming took a deep breath, took out the map, identified the direction, and headed towards the area where saber-tooth rats appeared. This time, acting alone, Su Ming was more cautious than before. He slightly spread out his spiritual power. Although his 32 spiritual power could not achieve large-scale precise detection, it allowed him to have an extraordinary perception of any subtle changes within 20 to 30 meters around him. Rustle. After advancing for about half an hour, a faint gnawing sound reached Su Ming's ears. Su Ming's gaze sharpened, and he silently approached a thicket. Through the gaps, he saw 3 saber-tooth rats, each the size of a cat, with gray-black fur and half-foot-long fangs, gnawing on the remains of an unknown beast. Good chance. Seeing this, Su Ming flicked his fingers, and 3 streams of white cold current shot out from his fingertips, accurately landing on the 3 saber-tooth rats. The 3 saber-tooth rats had no time to resist and were frozen into 3 ice sculptures. Killed first-order early-stage beast saber-tooth rat, enhancement point 1. 3 consecutive cold system notification sounds rang in Su Ming's mind like heavenly music. A first-order early-stage beast only gives 1 enhancement point, huh? Su Ming murmured as he looked at the 3 enhancement points credited, then drew his dagger and walked towards the 3 saber-tooth rats frozen into ice sculptures. Approaching the saber-tooth rats, Su Ming moved his mind, and the ice layer that sealed the 3 rats quickly melted away as if it had never existed. After yesterday's training with Xi and Menghan's team, Su Ming had become quite proficient at using the dagger to harvest materials from beasts. In less than a minute, 6 gleaming fangs were placed into the climbing backpack he carried. After collecting the fangs from the 3 saber-tooth rats, Su Ming left without any delay. Saber-tooth rats were the lowest level beasts. Apart from a pair of sharp incisors, the other materials on their bodies were not valuable. The backpack Su Ming brought had limited capacity, so he naturally aimed to collect materials from higher level beasts to maximize profit. In the next half hour, Su Ming roamed the area where saber-tooth rats were active. With his extraordinary perception and formidable strength, all saber-tooth rats discovered by Su Ming were killed in 1 strike. Killed first-order early-stage beast saber-tooth rat, enhancement point 1. Killed first-order early-stage beast saber-tooth rat, enhancement point 1. The system notification sounds rang continuously and enhancement points accumulated steadily. Su Ming's control over his ability also became more proficient through actual combat. In just half an hour, Su Ming had gathered the 20 pairs of saber-tooth rat fangs required for the mission, then continued deeper into the cave towards the area marked on the map, where higher-level beasts were active. A whoa! Just as Su Ming advanced a little deeper, a loud wolf howl came from the dim forest ahead, followed by sounds of fighting mixed with continuous howls. There's a situation. Sensing the commotion ahead, Su Ming's eyes narrowed, and he immediately rushed in the direction of the fighting sounds. With his current spiritual power and the combat boost of his great ability when fully unleashed, he was capable of surpassing most second-order late-stage martial artists. In this No. 3 cave, where the highest level was only second-order beasts, he could essentially walk unopposed. Naturally, when he detected activity, he had to go and take a look. When Su Ming passed through a dense dark woodland, the scene before him suddenly opened up. He saw 5 large wolves with robust builds, dark red fur, protruding fangs, and ferocious faces, besieging a wild boar over 3 meters long with silver-gray fur. First-order late-stage beast bloodfawn wolf, and a first-order peak-stage beast silver fur wild boar. Lucky. Seeing the two types of beasts fighting, Su Ming's eyes lit up, and he immediately stepped out. 5 first-order late-stage beasts, and 1 first-order peak-stage beast, the value of their materials easily exceeded 50,000. Whoa! The moment Su Ming appeared, the 5 bloodfawn wolves besieging the silver fur wild boar immediately detected him. They abandoned their siege, all turning to look at Su Ming, lowering their bodies and letting out low, threatening growls. Oomph. At the same time, the silver fur wild boar also looked at Su Ming, exhaling 2 streams of white turbid breath through its snout, a hint of brutal bloodlust creeping into its eyes as it stared at him. Although the bloodfawn wolves and the silver fur wild boar had been enemies a second ago, upon encountering a human martial artist, both beasts immediately set aside their differences and faced the external enemy together. After all, to the beasts in the cave, human martial artists were the external invaders. Whoa! The bloodfawn wolves attacked first. With a howl, the 5 wolves charged at Su Ming with bloodthirsty eye. Thud, thud, thud. Behind them, the massive silver fur wild boar also charged forward on all fours, barreling towards Su Ming like a tank. Overreaching. Su Ming sneered as he watched the 6 beasts charging at him. When the beasts entered the 30-meter range, he raised his hand, causing the surrounding temperature to plummet sharply. Above his head, 6 ice spears materialized. Whoosh. As Su Ming swung his hand, the 6 ice spears shot out like arrows from a bow, tearing through the air and precisely hitting all the bloodfawn wolves and the silver fur wild boar, instantly piercing through the bodies of the 6 beasts. Crackle! The teeth-grinding sound of freezing echoed. The 6 beasts, still in their fierce attacking postures, were instantly frozen into crystalline ice sculptures. Another effortless instant kill. Killed first-order peak-stage beast, silver fur wild boar, enhancement point 5. Killed first-order late-stage beast, bloodfawn wolf, enhancement point 3. Killed first-order late-stage beast, bloodfawn wolf, enhancement point 3. Quite a drain. After taking down 5 late first-order and 1 peak first-order ferocious beasts in one go, Su Ming exhaled a breath of cold air. The attack, just now, even though he deliberately controlled the power of his superpower, consumed about 5 of his. Although Su Ming's class superpower Crown of Ice provided a combat power boost of up to 50 times, allowing Su Ming to possess combat power not inferior to that of a late second-order martial artist. However, Su Ming's spiritual power was only 30 points. According to the spiritual power level classification, Su Ming was still only a mid-first-order awakener. Compared to a genuine late second-order martial artist, Su Ming's endurance was much inferior. After this trip, I'll use the money earned to buy a suitable weapon and fight these ferocious beasts with my physical body. This way I can accumulate some combat experience. I can't always rely on my superpower to one-shot them, otherwise if my spiritual power runs out, I'll be in danger in these catacombs. After roughly sensing the spiritual power consumed by this strike, Su Ming shook his head and sighed, then stepped forward with his dagger to collect materials from the bloodfawn wolf and silver-haired wild boar. After collecting the materials, Su Ming continued deeper. Along the way, all the ferocious beasts he encountered were easily killed with his superpower, and the accumulation of enhancement points grew larger. However, when Su Ming's spiritual power was half consumed, he stopped going deeper and returned the way he came. Although he had only been in the catacombs for half a day, the large hiking backpack on his back was already stuffed full. Because he had killed too many ferocious beasts, Su Ming only kept the 20 pairs of sharp-toothed rat fangs required for the Martial Association mission, discarding all materials from ferocious beasts below late first order. The materials in Su Ming's backpack were all from late first order and above ferocious beasts, including materials from 2 early second order ferocious beasts. Not until Su Ming returned to the Linjiang City Martial Association with the harvest from No. 3 catacomb and sold all these materials did his account gain a total of 40300 credit points. Among them, the most valuable were the materials from the 2 early second-order ferocious beasts, Iron Wall Ape and Shadow Cat, worth 300 credit points, earning 40000 in half a day. Being a martial artist sure makes money easy. Watching the 400 credit points credited to his account, Su Ming's face showed a mix of emotions. Back then, working as a part-time sparring partner at the Ultimate Martial Arts Gym, he barely earned 250 credit points a month with hard work. Now in half a day, he had made the equivalent of over a decade of part-time wages. First, let's see if there's an affordable weapon. With money in hand, Su Ming immediately headed to the weapon sales area of the Martial Association. Dark Iron Spear, a grade weapon forged entirely from dark iron, price 100 credit points. Fire Rhino Blade, grade weapon crafted from the horn of a peak second-order unicorn fire rhino mixed with fire copper alloy, price 950 credit points. Fish Scale Speared, grade weapon crafted from Miluo alloy with bone powder of a peak second-order white-scaled fish, price 100 credit points. Looking at the various weapons displayed in the showcase, Su Ming's mouth twitched. He suddenly realized he had spoken too soon. Any grade weapon cost over 1,000,000 credit points on average. With the funds he had now, he could only afford the lowest grade weapons. After checking the weapons, Su Ming also looked at the various martial arts and meditation methods suitable for awakeners sold by the Martial Association. But he found that even a grade martial art required 100 credit points, and meditation methods cost several times more than martial arts of the same grade. Neither was affordable for Su Ming at the moment. In the end, Su Ming only bought a dark iron spear, then used the remaining credit points to purchase 10 spirit pills and 20 doses of qi and blood powder. I thought 400 was a lot, but now I can't afford what I want. The rumor that martial artists burn through money is true. Su Ming looked at the huge sum just credited to his account, which in the blink of an eye had dwindled to a mere 300 remainder. He sighed deeply, then took a bus home. Arriving at his apartment building, Su Ming first filled his stomach at a restaurant downstairs before going upstairs. As soon as he entered the house, Su Ming put down his backpack, and spear took out the jade bottle containing 10 spirit pills, poured out one, and swallowed it. An hour and a half later, the jade bottle in Su Ming's hand was empty. All 10 spirit pills had been swallowed. After consuming the pills, Su Ming's spiritual attribute directly reached 32. 2. My spiritual attribute increased by 2 points. Awesome. But it seems swallowing 10 spirit pills in one go is my current limit. It looks like the scenario I imagined of rapidly boosting my spiritual attribute by consuming large amounts of spirit pills won't happen. What a pity. The increase in spiritual attribute made Su Ming feel refreshed, but at the same time, he sensed a hint of saturation from his sea of consciousness, making him realize that swallowing 10 spirit pills in a row was near his limit. After realizing this, the joy in Su Ming's heart faded considerably, and he couldn't help but sigh. Little did he know that others, even class superpower awakeners, could at most swallow 3 spirit pills in one go at the first order, less than half of his capacity. Shaking his head, Su Ming took out a dose of qi and blood powder, swallowed it, and quickly began practicing the body tempering art. He practiced from noon until nightfall, cultivating for 6 hours straight, and consuming 6 doses of qi and blood powder. The floor beneath his feet was soaked with sweat. It wasn't until the phone at home rang that Su Ming stopped practicing. "Brother, it's me. Our school is starting night training for us freshmen today, so from now on I'll be boarding at school and won't come home at night." Su Ming answered the phone, hearing Su Xiaowei's voice. "Night training? Isn't that supposed to start in sophomore year?" Frowning slightly, Su Ming asked. Su Xiaowei was a student at Linjiang No. 2 high school, but in his memory, night training at that school started in— "Oh brother, that was in the past. It's changed now. Okay, night training is about to start. I'll hang up. Bye." At Linjiang No. 2 high school, Su Xiaowei hung up and breathed a sigh of guilt. "Xiaowei, your brother won't find out, will he?" whispered a girl of similar age with a pretty face and dressed in expensive clothes. "Probably not for a while, hee. Let's go. From today, you're my boss." Su Xiaowei put away her phone and winked playfully at the girl beside her. "All right." The girl shrugged helplessly, and the two left the school together. As soon as they stepped out of the school gate, Su Xiaowei's phone received 2 text messages. One was a notification of 2,000 credit points deposited into her bank account. The other was a message from Su Ming. "Xiaowei, since you have night training, eat well and replenish nutrition so your qi and blood won't fall behind." Looking at the message from Su Ming on her phone, Su Xiaowei's nose tingled. She quickly replied with a cute, "Got it," emoji, then followed the girl beside her as they hurried towards an upscale restaurant in the city center. This girl. At home, Su Ming looked at the cute emoji Su Xiaowei had replied, with a faint smile curling at the corners of his mouth. Afterward, he went to the restaurant downstairs for dinner, then returned upstairs to continue cultivating for 5 hours training until late into the night. "Let's stop here for today." Su Ming halted, let out a long breath with a trace of fatigue on his face, then his gaze fell upon the system panel. Host Su Ming, Vitality 13. 02 Spirit 32. 2 Ability Ice Crown's Body Refining Method Rising Dawn Sun Deperfection Meditation Method None Martial Arts Diamond Spear Art Deperfection Enhancement Points 186 10 hours of cultivation consumed 10 doses of Vitality Powder, and his Vitality increased by 5 points. Now his Vitality had broken through to 13 points, officially crossing the threshold of 10 points for a first-rank martial artist. Gaining 5 Vitality points per day. If I keep this up, I can increase by another 150 points before the martial exam and become a second-rank martial artist. Moreover, I'm still practicing a grade body refining method. Once I save enough money to buy a higher grade one, my vitality growth rate will only be faster. Su Ming looked at the 5-point increase in his vitality, and the fatigue on his body instantly lessened. Closing the system panel, he did not continue cultivating, but instead took a comfortable hot bath, and then returned to his room to rest. The next day, he still had to enter the underground cave to hunt ferocious beasts, so he must conserve his energy. In the following days, Su Ming went to the underground cave every morning to hunt ferocious beasts, then at noon returned to the Martial Artist Association with a large bag of beast materials to sell, exchanging them for cultivation resources, such as vitality powder and spirit pills, before going home and cultivating until late at night. Under such almost obsessive self-discipline, Su Ming's strength rapidly improved. In the blink of an eye, 20 days had passed. During these 20 days, the value of the materials Su Ming obtained from hunting ferocious beasts increased day by day. Besides the fixed daily expense of 2500 credits for 10 spirit pills and 10 vitality powder doses, Su Ming had also saved a considerable amount of money. I've now accumulated over 5 million credits, enough to buy a crade martial art. Moreover, I've accumulated over 4,000 enhancement points, enough to max out the proficiency of a crade martial art. One morning, Su Ming arrived at the Martial Artist Association as usual. Looking at the over 5 million credits in his account, he headed toward the martial art sales area. Soon Su Ming set his sights on a crade martial art called Cloud-Breaking Spear. Cloud-Breaking Spear Crade Martial Art. Cultivating to initial level grants 2x combat power increase, intermediate level grants 3x, advanced level grants 4x, and perfection level grants 5x. Price 4. 5 million credits. Cloud-Breaking Spear it is. 4. 5 million credits. I can use the leftover money to exchange for a grade weapon, the scale pattern spear. After reading the introduction of Cloud-Breaking Spear, Su Ming immediately bought it and also used the remaining credits to purchase a grade weapon, the scale pattern spear. The grade long spear, black iron spear, in Su Ming's hand had gradually become inadequate against the defensive second-rank beasts in the underground cave. Only after switching to the grade scale pattern spear could he smoothly break through those beasts' defenses. After Su Ming read through the Cloud-Breaking Spear martial art from beginning to end, a prompt tone sounded in his mind. Detected crade martial art Cloud-Breaking Spear. Would you like to spend 100 enhancement points to learn it? Learn. Su Ming was just wondering how to allocate points when the system prompt appeared. Without any hesitation, the moment Su Ming chose to learn Cloud-Breaking Spear, a flood of enlightenment and insights about the martial art surged into his mind. The next second, the system's prompt tone sounded again. Ding. You have learned the crade martial art Cloud-Breaking Spear. Current proficiency initial. You can spend 900 enhancement points to raise its proficiency to perfection. Ding. You have learned the crade martial art Cloud-Breaking Spear. Current proficiency initial. You can spend 900 enhancement points to raise it. Countless insights about Cloud-Breaking Spear flooded Su Ming's mind. In just a few breaths, Su Ming had completely mastered the crade martial art, reaching the pinnacle of proficiency. With a thought, Su Ming called up his attribute panel. Host Su Ming, Vitality 116, Spirit 74, Ability Ice Crown's Body, Refining Method Rising Dawn, Sun Deperfection Meditation, Method None, Martial Arts, Diamond Spear Art Deperfection, Cloud-Breaking Spear C Perfection, Enhancement Points 8169. With a 5x combat power burst, based on my current vitality of 116. I can deliver an explosive force of 5,800 cards, enough to suppress many second-rank mid-stage martial artists. If I fully unleash the Ice Crown ability to attack, I can instantly erupt with 3700 cards of combat power, enough to freeze even a third-rank initial stage martial artist. After glancing at his attribute information, Su Ming felt fully confident. Carrying the newly purchased scale pattern spear, he left the Martial Artist Association and continued heading toward Underground Cave No. 3. Entering Underground Cave No. 3A, Su Ming made his way straight toward the areas deep within the cave, where second-rank ferocious beasts roamed, slaughtering as he went. Along the way, when a few dim-witted first-rank beasts attempted to attack, Su Ming didn't even bother using the scale pattern spear. He simply formed his fingers into a blade, wrapped them in biting cold air, and waved casually, instantly freezing them. The system's voice announcing gained enhancement points kept sounding in his mind, yet it could hardly stir much emotion. Killed first-rank mid-stage beast Rotten Claw Jackal, enhancement points 2. Killed first-rank latest-stage beast Sharptooth Rat King, enhancement points 3. This time, Su Ming didn't even bother collecting materials from the first-rank beasts he killed along the way. He just sprinted all the way. After sprinting for half an hour, Su Ming arrived at an area covered with enormous gray rocks, nearly 100 li from the entrance passage of Underground Cave No. 3. Moo. A thunderous muffled beast roar came from behind the rocks ahead, shaking the ground slightly. Su Ming immediately halted, reached back, and patted his back. The scale pattern spear strapped to his back flew up, spun in midair, and landed in his hand. Holding the scale pattern spear, Su Ming looked ahead. He saw a massive creature slowly emerge. The beast was nearly 4 meters long, with a shoulder height exceeding 2 meters. Its body was covered in thick, granite-like, grayish-brown scales that gleamed with a metallic, cold luster under the dim light. A single enormous horn jutted fiercely from its nose bridge, its tip shimmering with a chilling gleam. Its limbs were thick as pillars, each step left a deep imprint on the hard ground. This was a beast renowned for its defense and impact power, the iron-armored rhinoceros. A second-rank mid-stage beast, iron-armored rhinoceros. Looking at the colossal creature before him, Su Ming's eyes sharpened. Umph. The iron-armored rhinoceros clearly noticed Su Ming, the uninvited guest. Its pair of lantern-like eyes instantly locked onto Su Ming. Two streams of hot white vapor shot from its nostrils as its front hooves pawed the ground restlessly, emitting a threatening low growl. Moo! The ironclad rhinoceros initiated the attack. After a deafening roar, its massive body lunged forward like a heavy tank at full speed, charging wildly at Su Ming. Each step made the ground rumble and tremble, sending gravel flying. Just in time. Seeing this, Su Ming did not retreat. With a flick of his wrist, the fish-scale spear let out a faint hum, its tip aimed directly at the ironclad rhinoceros. Facing the savage charge that could send a car flying, Su Ming quickly mobilized the blood and qi within his body. His muscles became exceptionally active and streams of force quickly flowed along the power path of the crank martial art cloud-breaking spear. The perfected cloud-breaking spear possessed power techniques far surpassing the previous diamond spear art. Just as the ironclad rhinoceros charged within 10 meters, and its ferocious horn was about to strike, Su Ming stomped the ground and moved forward instead of retreating. As the collision seemed inevitable, Su Ming lightly stepped sideways like a phantom, narrowly evading the direct charge of the ironclad rhinoceros. This was the reaction he had trained during 20 days of actual combat, not without the contribution of his high mental attribute. Cloud-breaking spear. At the moment he dodged the rhinoceros charge, Su Ming's bones and sinews resonated, and his blood and qi erupted. With 116 points of blood and qi, he channeled all his strength unreservedly into his arms holding the fish-scale spear. Su Ming's arm muscles bulged as the fish-scale spear turned into a silver lightning bolt, striking precisely at the relatively weak side of the ironclad rhinoceros' neck. This thrust was fast, accurate, and fierce. Under a five-fold amplification, a terrifying combat power of 5,800 cards erupted instantly. Clang! The spear tip violently collided with the ironclad rhinoceros' armored scales, producing a piercing metallic clamor. After a series of sparks, it left a wound about a foot long on the side of the rhinoceros' neck, and blood flowed out. Such high defense. Su Ming felt a slight numbness in his arms, secretly amazed. The ironclad rhinoceros' defense indeed lived up to its reputation, far exceeding ordinary second-rank mid-stage beasts. Moo! The ironclad rhinoceros, stung by pain, let out an angry roar. It abruptly stomped its limbs and performed a tail pivot emergency brake with its massive body. Its thick horn on the head now aimed at Su Ming. Then it exerted force with its limbs, and the horn gleamed coldly as it thrust straight at Su Ming. Su Ming dodged again, withdrew the fish-scale spear, and then thrust it out like a venomous dragon emerging from its lair. In the blink of an eye, he unleashed several spear shadows targeting the rhinoceros' eyes, joints, neck, and other relatively weak spots. The cloud-breaking spear not only provided immense amplification, but also possessed exquisite techniques that focused on breaking through with a single point, granting extreme penetration. Combined with the fish-scale spear, its power was even greater. Clang! Thump! The sounds of metal clashing and spear-piercing flesh alternated ceaseless. Su Ming exerted his movement technique to the utmost, constantly circling around the ironclad rhinoceros' massive body. The fish-scale spear seemed alive in his hands, each strike landing precisely on the rhinoceros' weak points. Despite its immense strength and defense, the ironclad rhinoceros could not even touch Su Ming's clothes. It bellowed in fury, its massive body becoming a burden that made it clumsy, forcing it to switch to passive defense. However, prolonged defense inevitably leads to failure. After more than a dozen torrential attacks from Su Ming, he finally seized an opportunity and thrust his spear into the ironclad rhinoceros' right eye. Thump! This time, there was no harsh metallic clash. Instead came a muffled sound of something tearing through leather and flesh. Nearly half of the fish-scale spear plunged into the rhinoceros' head. A stream of hot beast blood mixed with the burst of the eyeball sprayed out along the blood groove. Moo! The ironclad rhinoceros let out an earth-shattering wretched howl. Its massive body convulsed violently as its life force ebbed away like a retreating tide. Boom! In the end, this extraordinarily defensive second-rank mid-stage beast crashed heavily to the ground, sending up a cloud of dust, and fell completely silent. Su Ming slowly pulled out the fish-scale spear, flicked off the blood droplets from the tip, and his breathing was a... This ironclad rhinoceros defense is probably no weaker than many second-rank latest-stage beasts. With my current physical combat power of 5,800 cards combined with the Drank fish-scale spear, I should be able to kill any second-rank mid-stage beast in Cave No. 3, relying solely on my physical strength. After killing the ironclad rhinoceros, Su Ming gained a clearer understanding of his own strength. He took a few deep breaths, calmed the restless blood and qi in his body, then stepped forward to cut off the most valuable horn of the rhinoceros. Although the iron armor on the ironclad rhinoceros was also valuable, it was too large to carry away, so he had to abandon it. Su Ming quickly processed the most valuable horn from the rhinoceros, then filled a few bottles with its essence blood before packing all the materials into his large mountaineering backpack. So much material left behind, what a pity. If only I had a spatial ring. After packing up, Su Ming glanced regretfully at the massive body of the iron-clad rhinoceros side, and then continued further into the depths of the cave. In the following days, Su Ming specifically hunted second-rank beasts deep in the cave. He did not use his supernatural ability. Instead, he relied entirely on his physique and martial arts to engage in close combat with the beasts, continuously accumulating battle experience. The fish-scale spear danced like a silver dragon, thrusting like lightning. In a single move, it could often kill a second-rank early-stage beast. Only second-rank mid-stage beasts could exchange a few moves with Su Ming. The remaining first-rank beasts were no match for Su Ming at all. Time passed minute by minute. System prompt sounds and notifications of enhancement points being credited occasionally popped up on the system panel. The advanced materials in Su Ming's backpack grew more numerous. Until the backpack was fully loaded and could not hold any more beast materials, Su Ming reluctantly but quickly returned along the path he came. When Su Ming was halfway back, carrying his bulging mountaineering backpack through a dense dark purple forest, he vaguely heard the sounds of weapons clashing and beasts roaring coming from his right. Extending his spirit sense toward the right side of the forest, Su Ming keenly detected a fierce, slightly familiar fluctuation of blood and qi in the distance. There's a fight over there. This blood and qi fluctuation feels so familiar. Could it be Coach Zin's? Is it them? Su Ming paused, immediately thinking of Xian Menghan and her team members, frowning slightly. After a brief deliberation, Su Ming immediately quickened his pace toward the direction of the fight. After a moment, Su Ming approached the battle site and looked ahead. On a relatively open rocky beach, a four-person squad was locked in a fierce struggle. Assaulting them were over 20 bloodfang wolves. It is indeed them. Upon catching sight of the familiar figures of Xian Menghan, Fang Mo, and the others, Su Ming muttered to himself. But now the situation for Xian Menghan and her companions had become perilous. Even the porter who had followed them into the cavern had fallen in a pool of blood, and several bloodfang wolves were greedily gnawing at his corpse. Xian Menghan and Fang Mo had no time to worry about that. For at this moment, besides the countless bloodfang wolves besieging them, there was also an exceptionally large bloodfang wolf king, with a tuft of golden fur on its forehead. Its ferocious aura and energy fluctuations unmistakably reached the second-rank mid-stage. Now Xian Menghan was alone, struggling to hold off that second-rank mid-stage bloodfang wolf king. The long blade in her hand swung like the wind. Her Tianlin blade art executed to its utmost. Striking after powerful strike of blade energy slashed onto the wolf king, but could only leave shallow bloody marks on its tough hide and thick muscles, failing to inflict fatal damage. Instead, she herself had been wounded under the wolf king's frenzied assault. A claw mark deep enough to expose bone on her left arm, blood staining her combat suit, breathing ragged clearly at the end of her rope. On the other side, the situation for Fang Mo, Guanshan, and Xiamu was equally grim. The three formed a small defensive circle back-to-back, each bearing varying degrees of injury, panting heavily, their qi and blood greatly depleted. Fang Mo's glasses were long gone, her short hair was plastered to her forehead with sweat, and the hand gripping her spear trembled slightly. Guanshan's combat suit was torn across his chest, a claw wound seeping blood. Xiamu's face was pale, a fist-sized chunk of flesh was missing from his right thigh, blood gushing continuously. Seeing this gruesome scene, Su Ming was startled. He immediately dropped his backpack and, holding his scale spear, was about to charge forward to rescue them. But just as he was about to intervene, his spiritual sense suddenly detected far in the distance some extremely faint, deliberately concealed presences. These presences hid behind the rocks and deadwood on a rise over 100 meters away. No fewer than 5 of them, and 2 of those were quite formidable, unmistakably at the level of second-rank warriors. There are people lying in ambush. Su Ming's heart jolted. He instantly calmed down. It seems this matter is not as simple as it appears on the surface. Lightning flashed as thoughts raced through Su Ming's mind. He immediately suppressed the idea of using a thunderous method to annihilate the wolf pack, and instead erupted with all his Qibla to charge out. At the same time, he let out a loud shout, "Hold on. I'm coming to help you." Before his words faded, Su Ming, holding his scale spear, had already rushed to Fang Mo and the others, sweeping the spear horizontally and smashing it into a bloodfang wolf. Su Ming did not use any martial art for this strike, but his Qibla of 116 allowed him to easily unleash a combat power exceeding 1,000 calories, instantly sending this first-rank latest-stage bloodfang wolf flying. Su Ming's current Qibla barely exceeded the threshold of a second-rank warrior. Without deliberate concealment, at first glance he appeared as nothing more than an ordinary second-rank warrior. But even a freshly broken 1,000 combat power was still second-rank. The first-rank latest-stage bloodfang wolf, struck by Su Ming's spear, had half its bones broken, collapsed to the ground, and let out a pained whimper, unable to rise. Kill. After dispatching one bloodfang wolf, Su Ming's movements did not pause. Slash, lift, thrust, sweep, parry. The scale spear danced in a flurry of spear shadows. In the blink of an eye, he carved a bloody path through the Bloodfang wolves encircling Fang Mo and the others, and arrived beside them. Su Ming. It's actually you. How are you so strong? Suddenly seeing a reinforcement in their desperate situation, the despair on Fang Mo and the others' faces instantly turned to great joy. But upon realizing that the newcomer was indeed Su Ming, all three were taken aback, nearly exclaiming in unison. For the ki-blood surging from Su Ming at this moment unmistakably reached the intensity of a second-rank warrior. How much time had passed? Less than a month ago, when Su Ming served as their team's porter, he could barely unleash the combat power of a first-rank initial-stage warrior. Back then, Su Ming, facing a first-rank latest-stage lion mastiff, could only even with all his might halt the beast's forward charge for a mere instant. Yet now, when they saw Su Ming again, he had become a second-rank warrior in the blink of an eye. Facing Bloodfang wolves of the same first-rank late stage, he could severely injure one with a casual thrust of his spear. The improvement in strength during this period was simply appalling. Watch out. These beasts are too many. Fang Mo urgently shouted. After the initial shock, Fang Mo was the first to warn Su Ming. Although Su Ming was now a second-rank warrior, the Bloodfang wolves were simply too numerous. Over 20 first-rank latest-stage Bloodfang wolves could threaten a warrior who had just stepped into the second rank. It's fine, let's fight our way out together. Hearing this, Su Ming turned his head and shot Fang Mo a confidence. Seeing the smile on Su Ming's face, a blush rose on Fang Mo's pale cheeks despite herself, but she quickly snapped back to reality and shook her head. No, Xiam Yu's leg wound is serious. Then you take care of yourselves first. He'll kill a batch of Bloodfang wolves to relieve your pressure, then go help Coach Xian. Without waiting for Fang Mo to finish, Su Ming glanced at the gushing wound on Xiam Yu's right thigh and immediately nodded. The next second, with an appearance of giving his all and a solemn expression, he swung his spear and charged into the wolf pack. Su Ming's movements were agile, his spear like a dragon. Relying on his second-rank initial-stage combat power, he fought his way in and out of the wolf pack multiple times, grievously wounding one Bloodfang wolf after another, while never failing to block the most dangerous attacks aimed at Fang Mo and the others. The arrival of Su Ming immediately greatly alleviated the pressure on Fang Mo's trio, their previously tottering defensive circle stabilized for the time being. On the other side, Xian Menghan, who was fighting the Wolf King alone, sensed that Fang Mo and the others were temporarily safe, and she couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, focusing all her efforts on stalling the Bloodfang Wolf King before her. Coach Xian, am coming to assist you. Seeing that Fang Mo and the others were certainly safe, Su Ming wasted no time. Holding his scale spear, he charged. Coach Xian, am coming to assist you. Seeing that Fang Mo and the others were certainly safe, Su Ming wasted no time. Holding his scale spear, he charged toward the Bloodfang Wolf King. Shortly after Su Ming charged out among the remaining two Bloodfang wolves, one was sent flying by Guan Shan's blade and fell dead, while the other was pierced through the abdomen by Fang Mo's spear and collapsed, unable to rise. At this moment, the only active beast on the field was that second-rank mid-stage Bloodfang Wolf King. Awu. Seeing his minions nearly annihilated, the Wolf King let out an enraged roar, his attacks growing even more ferocious as he recklessly disregarded his own defense, charging at Xian Menghan with suicidal abandon. Xian Menghan had barely caught her breath. Faced with the Wolf King's desperate self-destructive onslaught, she was instantly thrown into a perilous situation on the verge of collapse. Beast, don't get cocky. Seizing the moment, Su Ming bellowed, and with a show of reckless expenditure of his own energy, he thrust his spear toward the Wolf King with forced intensity. Yet a flicker of cunning gleamed in the Bloodfang Wolf King's savage eyes. It abruptly abandoned Xian Menghan and swiped a claw at Su Ming's spear. Yet a flicker of cunning gleamed in the Bloodfang Wolf King's savage eyes. It abruptly abandoned Xian. With a deafening crash, Su Ming staggered backward several steps, his face turning pale instantly, the hand gripping his spear trembling violently. Whoa! After repelling Su Ming with a single blow, the Bloodfang Wolf King immediately sensed that Su Ming's strength was far inferior to Xian Menghan's. It let out a howl and struck out decisively, determined to eliminate this human warrior who had intervened, avenging its cubs. Vajra Spear Art. Facing the Bloodfang Wolf King's full-force attack, Su Ming shouted, instantly unleashing the perfected Vajra Spear Art. With a 2.5-fold amplification, a spear strike of nearly 3,000 calories combat power successfully blocked the Wolf King's all-out assault. Su Ming's seemingly desperate strike also created a perfect opportunity for Xian Menghan. Celestial Kylan Blade, Art Kylan Slash. Xian Menghan mustered the last of her energy, seizing the instant when the Wolf King's old force had just dissipated and new force had yet to arise. Becoming one with her blade, she transformed into a dazzling streak of sword light and slashed viciously at the relatively soft underbelly the Wolf King had exposed while attacking Su Ming. Squelch. This strike, infused with all of Xian Meng Han's power, finally breached the Wolf King's formidable defense, leaving a gruesome gaping wound as entrails and blood gushed out. A woo! The Wolf King let out an earth-shattering howl of agony. Severely wounded, fear flickered in its eyes for the first time. It dared not continue the fight with Su Ming and Xian Meng Han, and hurriedly fled into the distance, dragging its intestines along the ground. Beast, where do you think you're going? Xian Meng Han wanted to give chase, but the moment she took a step her legs gave way, and she collapsed uncontrollably. The arduous battle had pushed her to her limits. Clang! Su Ming thrust his scaled spear into the ground, leaning on it as he gasped for breath. He said to Xian Meng Han, "Coach Xian, don't worry. Even if that beast escapes, it won't survive. Let's rest a bit, recover our strength, and leave this place immediately." "Yes, Su Ming, we owe you this time. If you hadn't shown up when you did, our entire squad would have been finished today." Xian Meng Han nodded, her eyes fixed on Su Ming with gratitude, but also shimmering with profound. "Su Ming, how did you?" Clap, clap, clap. Just as Xian Meng Han was about to ask curiously how Su Ming had grown so strong in such a short time, an abrupt round of applause interrupted her. Then a mocking laugh tinged with surprise came from the distant high ground. "Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I can't believe you still survive. And you, kid, a second-stage martial artist. We all misjudged you last time." Before the words died away, 5 figures emerged from behind the rocks and withered trees on the high ground. The leader was a burly man with a shaved head that gleamed coldly in the dim light, his face covered in ruthless flesh. It was Cheng Xiong of the Thunder Martial Arts Hall. He and his 4 teammates descended the high ground, unhurriedly forming a semi-encirclement as they approached Su Ming and the other 4 who were exhausted and battered. A cold smirk was fixed on their faces as they stared at the group. "Cheng Xiong, it's you. You were watching all along from the sidelines and did nothing to help." Seeing Cheng Xiong and his men appear, Fong Mo shouted angrily at them, clearly outraged that they had been nearby and could have lent a hand, yet chose to stand idly by. However, aside from the youngest Fong Mo, the faces of Xian Meng, Han Xiaomu, and Guan Shan turned ashen, their hearts sinking to the bottom. More experienced, they had already guessed that the encounter with the Blood Fong wolf pack today was likely connected to Cheng. "Ha, stand idly by. Little girl, you're too naive." Cheng Xiong sneered at Fong Mo. "Cheng Xiong, did you lure the Blood Fong wolf pack here?" Ignoring her injuries and weakness, Xian Meng Han forced herself to stand, propping herself up with her blade, and glared at Cheng Xiong. "Don't you already have the answer?" Cheng Xiong grinned triumphantly. Seeing Cheng Xiong's smug expression, Xian Meng Han suddenly bellowed, mustering the last dregs of her power to charge at him, while shouting, "Su Ming, take Fong Mo and the others and run. Do you really think you can escape in your current state?" Cheng Xiong casually deflected Xian Meng Han's attack with a single slash of his blade, sneering, "Move. Send them to their deaths." "On it, brother Xiong." At Cheng Xiong's command, the other 4 members answered in unison. One of them erupted with the imposing aura of an early second-stage martial artist. Early second stage, another second-stage martial artist. Feeling the energy radiating from this man, Xian Meng Han's face turned deathly pale, drained of all color. With another early second-stage fighter among the enemy, even if she threw herself at Cheng Xiong to buy time, Su Ming and Fong Mo wouldn't be able to escape. Prepare to die. What a pity. If this weren't the underground cavern, I'd love to taste the flavor of these 2 beauties. The other 4 members of Cheng Xiong's squad each selected their targets and charged at Su Ming and the others. Though their words were lewd, the murderous intent was thick and their attacks held nothing back. Brat, becoming a second-stage martial artist so young. You truly are a remarkable genius. But what I hate most are geniuses like you. Die. The early second-stage martial artist lunged at Su Ming, his eyes blazing with intense jealousy and killing intent. He raised his broadsword and swung it down at Su Ming, who seemed at his last gasp. Clang! Squelch! A metallic collision rang out, followed by the sound of flesh tearing. How is this possible? The early second-stage martial artist stared blankly at his right hand, the tiger's mouth split open. His long sword had been sent flying into the air by Su Ming, spinning endlessly. Meanwhile, after knocking aside his opponent's weapon, Su Ming's spear pierced through his heart with lightning speed, the blood-stained tip emerging from his back. Squelch! Su Ming calmly pulled out his spear. The early second-stage martial artist fell straight backwards. As he hit the ground, the long sword that had been tumbling through the air finally landed, embedding itself beside his corpse. Such an unexpected turn of events froze everyone present. They stared in horror at Su Ming, whose expression remained utterly composed. Time seemed to stand still. The ferocious grin on Cheng Xiong's face froze, his pupils abruptly constricting to pinpricks, filled with utter disbelief. The dull thud of his subordinate, a second-rank initial-stage martial artist, hitting the ground struck his heart like a heavy hammer. "No. Impossible," Cheng Xiong exclaimed in a stunned voice, his tone trembling with extreme shock. "You're clearly only at the second-rank initial stage. Your blood energy intensity can't be faked. You've already expended a great deal from fighting the wolf pack earlier. How could you one-shot a martial artist of the same rank? Cheng Xiong's cry shattered the surrounding silence, and it also jolted the other 3 members of his squad back to their senses. The 3 glanced at the second-rank initial stage martial artist lying before Su Ming, their faces revealing expressions of terror. In unison, they retreated swiftly and hid behind Cheng Xiong, daring not to approach Fang Mo and the others any further. That youth before them had just instantly killed another second-rank expert from their gang. How could they dare continue forward to slay Fang Mo and the rest? Xi and Minghan and Fang Mo were even more astounded. They understood Su Ming's strength when they first met him far better than Cheng Xiong did. Now Su Ming could actually one-shot a second-rank initial stage martial artist. Such a leap in power could no longer be described as genius. It was simply incomprehensible. Facing Cheng Xiong's interrogation, Su Ming merely flicked the blood off his fish scale, spear his eyes shifting toward Cheng Xiong and his men. I've been waiting for you all. Time to die. Su Ming's voice was eerily calm, his gaze as cold as if he were looking at a group of corpses. Without wasting another word, Su Ming moved. His figure left a faint afterimage in its original spot, and his blood energy erupted explosively. The distance between Su Ming and Cheng Xiong was already short. In the blink of an eye, he was before Cheng Xiong. Cloud-breaking spear. Su Ming murmured, unleashing the full power of the crank martial art, cloud-breaking spear at perfection. The fish-scale spear transformed into a silver bolt of lightning. The spear thrust like a dragon, its tip tearing through the air with a piercing shriek. Under a 5-fold combat amplification, 5800 calories of terrifying battle power erupted without reservation. This spear strike was overwhelmingly swift. Not good. Feeling the might of this blow, Cheng Xiong's heart suddenly surged with a life-or-death crisis, causing his soul to flee in terror. Overlord slash. Yet being a martial artist nearing the second-rank mid-stage, he summoned all his potential at this critical moment, roaring as he swung his blade to parry. Blood energy surged along the blade as it slashed toward the incoming fish-scale spear. Clang! The harsh ring of metal colliding resounded. All saw the blade and spear clash, sparks flying, and then the large saber in Cheng Xiong's hand was sent flying into the air. The fish-scale spear in Su Ming's hand did not slow in the slightest. It magnified infinitely in Cheng Xiong's pupils, easily piercing through his vital heart. Schlurp! The spear tip exited through his back, bringing with it a handful of warm blood. The ferocity, terror, and shock on Cheng Xiong's face were utterly frozen. He looked down at the bull's-eyed bloody hole in his chest, then struggled to raise his head toward the expressionless Su Ming before him. His lips twitched a few times as if he wanted to speak. But Su Ming yanked the fish-scale spear out abruptly, then kicked Cheng Xiong's body away. Cheng Xiong never managed to utter a single word before being kicked aside, landing stiffly in front of the 3 remaining members of his squad, his mouth continuously spitting out bloody froth. Brother Xiong. Staring at Cheng Xiong with a huge hole in his chest, the 3 men's pupils violently dilated, their terror reaching its peak. It's your turn now. Su Ming advanced, spear in hand, his eyes glacial. Spare me. Brother Su Ming. No, grandfather Su Ming. Please spare us. It was all Cheng Xiong who forced us. It had nothing to do with us. If you let us live, we are willing to be your beasts of burden from now on. Sensing the killing intent emanating from Su Ming, the 3 were frightened out of their wits. They flung away their weapons, fell to their knees with a thud, kowtowed frantically, and begged for mercy with tears and snot streaming down their faces. In the face of death, all martial honor and brotherly loyalty turned to utter rubbish, leaving only the most primal will to survive. Yet Su Ming's eyes remained icy without a flicker of hesitation. In the martial world, the strong prey on the weak. Mercy toward an enemy is cruelty toward oneself and one's friends. Su Ming's creed was, I want trouble others unless they trouble me. If they do ill, eradicate them root and branch. In your next life, keep your eyes wide open. Su Ming flicked his wrist, and the fish-scale spear once again transformed into a deadly, chilling gleam. Schlurp, schlurp, schlurp. 3 spear shadows flashed nearly simultaneously, and the fish-scale spear precisely pierced the throats of the 3 men. The pleas for mercy ceased abruptly. The 3 covered their spurting throats, their eyes filled with boundless regret and fear before their bodies went limp, collapsed to the ground, twitched a few times, and fell silent. In the blink of an eye, the arrogantly overbearing Cheng Xiong squad of 5 had all turned into cold corpses. The thick scent of blood spread, mixing with the lingering odor of the wolf pack, making one nauseous. The scene fell into a dead silence. Only the moan of the wind sweeping through the rocky shoal could be heard, along with the heavy suppressed gasps of Xin, Minghan's team of 4. Fang Mo, Guanshan, and Xiaomu stared at Su Ming, who stood spear in hand with an indifferent expression as if seeing him for the first time. Their eyes held extreme shock, reverence, and a trace of indescribable fear. No matter how hard they tried, they could never have imagined that the high schooler who needed their protection 20 days ago now possessed the terrifying ability to instantly slay a second-rank martial artist. Such a rate of growth was unheard of. Su Ming, the move you just used. Was it the crank martial art cloud-breaking spear, and you've cultivated it to perfection? Xian Menghan struggled to her feet, her beautiful eyes staring at Su Ming with extreme shock, her voice trembling with a hint of disbelief. That's right, Coach Zin's insight is as sharp as ever. In response to Xian Menghan's query, Su Ming admitted generously. The coldness on his face vanished, replaced by a genial smile. Boom. Su Ming's answer was like a boulder dropped into a still lake, stirring up monstrous waves in the hearts of Xian Menghan, Fong Mo, and the other four. Hiss. Fong Mo drew in a sharp breath and covered her mouth with her hand, looking at Su Ming as if she were staring at a monster. The difficulty of martial arts cultivation was no trivial matter. An ordinary martial artist would need 10 years of arduous effort to perfect a drank martial art. For a crank martial art, even spending years of hard work to reach intermediate proficiency was already considered exceptional talent. How old was Su Ming? Not only had his blood energy reached the level of a second-rank martial artist, but he had also cultivated a crank martial art to perfection. This was no longer genius. This was a prodigy. It was monstrous. I never imagined that the lad who was doing odd jobs at the martial arts hall a month ago would transform into a second-rank martial artist whose strength surpasses my own. Su Ming's martial talent is even more extraordinary than I had envisioned. Xian Menghan took several deep breaths before barely suppressing the tumultuous waves in her heart, marveling inwardly. Then, surveying the messy scene and the corpses, she glanced at her injured team members, stepped forward, and thanked Su Ming sincerely. Su Ming, we truly owe today to you. I won't belabor the gratitude. From now on, whenever you need me, just say the word. Ha, the captain is right. Brother Su Ming, from now on my life is yours. Little brother Su Ming, I'll do whatever you ask of me. Su Ming, thanks. Guanshan, Fong Mo, and Xiaomu also snapped out of their daze and expressed their gratitude. Hearing this, Su Ming smiled calmly and nodded to them all. Seeing this, Xian Menghan said to Fong Mo and the others, everyone hurry up and tend to your wounds. The smell of blood here is too strong. It may attract more powerful beasts. We shouldn't linger. The group's expressions darkened, and they all nodded. No worries. As long as I'm here, you can treat your wounds in peace. Seeing their solemn looks, Su Ming said with a smile. His voice was quiet, but it put Xian Menghan and the others at ease. Under Su Ming's watch, they quickly dressed their wounds, and then cleaned up the battlefield. They took all the materials from the Bloodfang wolf corpses, as well as the harvest and weapons from Cheng Xiong's squad, and carried everything out of the cave. Su Ming, thanks to you today, our team is inviting you to dinner at Victoria Restaurant tonight. We hope you can grace us with your presence. After leaving the underground cavern, Xian Menghan sincerely invited Su Ming. They had survived a brush with death today. Although everyone was injured, luckily the wounds were only superficial. Given their robust physiques as martial artists, purchasing some specialized healing medicine would see them fully recovered within 3 days. Moreover, they had turned misfortune into fortune. Not only did they acquire a large quantity of Bloodfang wolf materials, they also located and harvested materials from the Bloodfang wolf king, a second-order mid-tier beast, not to mention the spoils Cheng Xiong and his team had obtained from the cavern. This trip would earn them at least 1,000,000 credit points. Coach Xian, you're too kind. We're all friends. Just send me the location and it'll be there tonight. Facing Xian Menghan's invitation, Su Ming did not refuse. Coach Xian, sounds so formal. If you don't mind, just call me Sister Han from now on. Alright, Sister Han. After settling the matter, the group chatted cheerfully as they left the No. 3 underground cavern and headed toward Linjiang City. Upon returning to Linjiang City, Su Ming immediately went to the Martial Artist Association and sold all the second-order beast materials from his backpack. Besides that, he also sold 2 level broadswords belonging to Cheng Xiong and another second-order martial artist in Cheng Xiong's team. Su Ming's account, which had been empty that morning, now swelled with 4.8 million credit points. What a haul. Today's earnings alone equal the past 10 days. The stronger I get, the faster I earn money. Over 4 million credit points in a single day. In a few days, he'll have enough to buy a clever meditation technique. Su Ming rejoiced at the 4.8 million credit points in his account. After purchasing the cultivation resources he needed for the day, he hailed a taxi and went home. In the evening, at the center of Linjiang City, Victoria Restaurant. As one of the most upscale dining establishments in Linjiang, it was lavishly decorated and brightly lit, the preferred venue for many wealthy individuals and martial artists to conduct business or indulge in leisure. Inside an elegant private room, a sumptuous feast covered the table. Xian Menghan's team of 4 played host, treating Su Ming as thanks for saving their lives earlier that day. After several hours of rest and treatment, the color had returned to their faces, though the bandages on their bodies were still conspicuous. Su Ming, we must toast you tonight. Xian Menghan raised her glass. Yes, Su Ming, a toast to you. Fong Mo, Guanshan, and Xiaomu also raised their glasses in unison, their eyes filled with gratitude as they looked at Su Ming. Cheers. Su Ming was not one to be overly reserved. He clinked glasses with everyone and downed the drink in one gulp. As the wine flowed and the meal progressed, the atmosphere in the room grew lively. They chatted about their experiences in the cavern and their martial arts training, with Exine Menghan and the others doing most of the talking while Su Ming listened. He found their peculiar experiences on the path of growth quite fascinating. After the meal, the group gradually dispersed. Xiaomu Guanshan and Fang Yimo left first, while Exine Menghan stayed with Su Ming for a while longer before they both departed together. Sister Han will head to the restroom first, Su Ming said as they were about to leave. All right, I'll wait for you at the entrance, Exine Menghan nodded. Su Ming walked along the corridor outside the private rooms toward the restroom. The restaurant had excellent soundproofing. The clinking of glasses and boisterous conversations from inside the rooms were barely audible in the hallway, which was remarkably quiet. However, as he passed a room named Zijin Pavilion, the slightly ajar door let out a burst of commotion and the sound of shattered porcelain shattering the tranquility. An arrogant, domineering young voice came from inside. Damn it. You're asking for trouble, aren't you? I'm gracing you by asking you to join us for a drink. Why are you dodging? I'm sorry, sir. I'm just a server responsible for bringing dishes. I don't offer drinking companionship. A timid, tearful female voice that sounded familiar followed. Hearing that voice as he passed by, Su Ming's tipsy haze instantly cleared, and he stopped abruptly. Am I hearing things? That voice sounds just like Xiaowei. Su Ming frowned, puzzled. Although the voice was identical to Su Xiaowei's, she should be at Linjiang No. 2 high school right now. How could she be a waitress at a restaurant? Perplexed, Su Ming peered through the gap in the door. The next moment his eyes sharpened and rage surged within him. Inside, several well-dressed young people sat around a table. At the head was a lavishly dressed young man with an arrogant expression, his other hand impatiently reaching for the wrist of a girl who was keeping her head down and trembling slightly. The girl had delicate features and a slender figure. It was none other than Su Ming's sister, Su Xiaowei. As the young man's hand grabbed for her, she instinctively pulled her hand back to avoid him. Her evasion only further infuriated the young man. Embarrassed, and feeling he had lost face in front of his friends, he turned furious. Still dodging, he raised his hand and slapped viciously towards Su Xiaowei's cheek. The blood and chi surging within the young man had already reached the peak of a first-order martial artist. If that slap landed on Su Xiaowei's face, who wasn't even a martial artist, the consequences were easy to imagine. Facing that blow, Su Xiaowei had no way to dodge and could only close her eyes helplessly. The other young people in the room not only failed to stop him, but burst into laughter, clearly accustomed to such behavior. Just as the young man's hand was about to strike Su Xiaowei's face, a powerful hand, like an iron vice, caught his wrist with deadly precision. You're asking for death. Su Ming, who had suddenly appeared, grabbed the young man's wrist, his eyes blazing with fury as he let out a cold shout. He then delivered a swift kick to the young man's abdomen. Bang! The next moment, the young man flew backward, slammed heavily into the wall behind him, and collapsed to the floor. Clutching his stomach, the intense pain curled his body up like a boiled shrimp, his face pale, as he couldn't even speak. Clatter. The sudden upheaval immediately caused the other young men to change expression. They stood up in unison, staring in shock at Su Ming, who was about their age. But seeing how Su Ming had kicked the strongest among them, flying with a single blow, they all knew they were no match for him. For a moment, they stood rooted to the spot, exchanging glances at a loss what to do. Brother. It was only then that Su Xiaowei opened her eyes and saw Su Ming standing protectively in front of her. She froze in disbelief. Su Ming turned around, gently stroked Su Xiaowei's head with concern, and did not ask why she was working as a waitress. Instead, he looked her over anxiously and asked, Xiaowei, are you hurt? No. Su Xiaowei shook her head repeatedly, but seeing Su Ming's frantic worry, all the grievances she had just suffered came flooding back and tears streamed down her face like unstrung pearls. Su Xiaowei's pitiful appearance only fueled Su Ming's anger. Who the hell are you? How dare you? Do you know who I am? Just then the young man's blustering, arrogant roar came from behind, still laced with offense. I don't care who you are. Su Ming, already furious, roared as he saw the culprit still so arrogant. He immediately turned to teach the newly risen brocade-clad youth another lesson. You? What do you think you're doing? Seeing Su Ming approaching with a murderous aura, the brocade-clad youth froze, his face pale with terror as he cried out. Seeing that Su Ming showed no sign of stopping, cold sweat broke out on the brocade-clad youth's forehead. He hurriedly said, I am Lin Tian of the Guanxing Martial Hall. My grandfather is Lin Dian, the vice master of the Linjiang City, Guanxing Martial Hall. If you dare touch me, my grandfather will never let you off. Guanxing Martial Hall. The Guanxing Martial Hall in Linjiang City was merely one of its many branches. Yet the vice master of that branch possessed the formidable strength of a peak third-rank martial artist, ranking among the top 10. However, the Guanxing Martial Hall was an immensely powerful martial hall organization, ranking highly within Hanxia Nation. It was said to have been founded by a peak-level 8th-rank marquis, who had surpassed the Grandmaster realm, dominating a region and spreading its influence across the nation, a true behemoth. The Guanxing Martial Hall in Linjiang City was merely one of its many branches. Yet the vice master of that branch possessed the formidable strength of a peak third-rank martial artist ranking among the top 10 powerhouses in all of Linjiang City. Lin Tian was the biological grandson of the vice master of the Linjiang City, Guanxing Martial Hall. Among the younger generation in the entire city, few could compare to him. Lin Tian was the biological grandson of the vice master of the Linjiang City, Guanxing Martial Hall. Among the younger generation in the entire scared now you dog? Get on your knees and kowtow to me now, break one of your own arms, and let this little slut keep me company for a few drinks. If you please me, I might spare your wretched life, otherwise it'll make your entire family disappear from Linjiang City. Seeing Su Ming stop with a furrowed brow, Lin Tian immediately became arrogant again. Heh. Hearing Lin Tian's voice, Su Ming smiled, but his smile was icy cold, carrying no warmth. The killing intent in his eyes was almost tangible. His family was his inviolable boundary. Lin Tian not only insulted him, but also dared to threaten his family's annihilation. This was beyond unbearable. The next moment, Su Ming lunged forward. Before Lin Tian could react, Su Ming grabbed his wrist and twisted it violently. Crack! A crisp, bone-chilling sound of snapping bone rang out. Alt! Lin Tian let out a pig-like scream of agony as his wrist was brutally broken by Su Ming. The excruciating pain drained his face of color, nearly causing him to faint. You. Lin Tian convulsed in pain, looking at Su Ming with sheer terror and disbelief. He never expected that even after invoking the name of the Guanxing Martial Hall, Su Ming not only showed no fear, but dared to strike so ruthlessly. Don't think you're just the grandson of a vice master. Even if your grandfather came in person, if he dared to harm my family, he would pay the price today. Su Ming's voice was ice cold, carrying a bone-chilling menace. Before his words faded, Su Ming grabbed Lin Tian's arm again and twisted it with force. Crack! The sickening sound of breaking bones echoed once more, and Lin Tian's entire arm hung limp. He wanted Su Ming to break his own arm. Su Ming repaid him in kind. Ugh! The pain of a broken arm made Lin Tian scream again, his face as pale as paper. Bang! Su Ming kicked Lin Tian in the abdomen, sending his body bending like a shrimp as he slammed heavily against the wall of the private room with a loud thud. Then he slid limply to the floor, blood trickling from his mouth, and fell completely unconscious. The entire private room fell into dead silence. The few youths who had accompanied Lin Tian were all frozen like ducks with their necks pinched, staring in terror at Su Ming, who seemed like a god of death, not daring to breathe. What's going on? Just then the door to the private room was pushed open violently, and hurried footsteps broke the silence. The manager of the Victoria restaurant rushed in with onlookers crowding the entrance. The manager scanned the room, his gaze locking onto Lin Tian lying unconscious on the floor. Seeing Lin Tian's wrist twisted unnaturally, his arm limp, and blood at the corner of his mouth, the manager's face changed instantly. Heavens! Young Master Lin. Well, what happened? The manager cried out in shock, hastily crouching to check Lin Tian's injuries, his hands trembling violently. Lin Tian was the biological grandson of Lin Dian, vice master of the Guanxing Martial Hall, and a distinguished guest of the Victoria restaurant. Although the Victoria restaurant was not low in status, its backer was only a second-rank martial artist, utterly powerless against the Guanxing Martial Hall. Now that Lin Tian had encountered trouble at the restaurant, if the manager didn't handle this, well, his position would definitely be lost. Thinking this, the manager stood up abruptly and demanded loudly, "Who did this?" Lin Tian's companions immediately recounted how Su Ming had brutally beaten Lin Tian, omitting any reason why Su Ming struck him. As the manager listened, he looked at the cold-faced Su Ming and sank into despair. He was well aware of the true nature of Lin Tian and his group of rich brats. He glanced at Su Ming and Su Xiaowei, whom Su Ming was shielding, noticing a resemblance between their faces, and roughly understood what had occurred. Lin Tian must have been harassing the waitress, and coincidentally her brother discovered it, leading to this outcome. Yet for him the truth didn't matter. What mattered was Lin Tian's identity. Lin Daoyuan could paralyze the restaurant's business with a single word, even inviting retaliation. The priority was to appease Lin Tian's side, and give them a satisfactory explanation. After weighing the options, the manager made a decision, turning sharply to Su Xiaowei with an unwavering tone. "You Su Xiaowei, right? I recognize you as a temporary waitress. Apologize immediately to young Master Lin and his friends." Before Su Xiaowei could respond, Su Ming stepped forward, his face cold as frost. What a fine manager, jumping to conclusions. Based solely on one side's account, you want my sister to apologize. This bastard bullied her with his power and dared to lay hands on her. Breaking his limbs was a light punishment. The manager, intimidated by Su Ming's aura, stepped back half a step, but still forced himself to scold. "Boy, you've gotten into big trouble. The Guanxing Martial Hall is not someone you can provoke. I'm doing this for your own good. Apologize now, or you'll be the ones to suffer if this drags on." "Su Ming, what are you doing here? Just as the manager finished, Xian Menghan's voice came from the doorway, breaking the tense atmosphere. Xian Menghan waited long at the door, without seeing Su Ming's figure. The commotion from inside drew her curiosity, so she decided to take a look. To her surprise, not only was Su Ming in that private room, but he also appeared to be the one at the center of the uproar. Pushing through the crowd gathered at the entrance, Xian Menghan stepped into the room. Her expression shifted when she saw the scene inside, particularly Su Ming and Lin Tian lying unconscious before him. Su Ming, you didn't do this, did you? Xian Menghan approached him, pointing at the collapsed Lin Tian. The corner of her mouth twitched as a trace of helplessness flickered in her eyes. She knew Lin Tian's identity, and the situation clearly indicated Su Ming had beaten him. If Lin Daoyuan learned that his own grandson had been so brutally thrashed, he would never let it go. Lin Daoyuan was a powerhouse at the peak of the third rank. Though Su Ming was prodigious, he was still too young and no match for Lin Daoyuan. I only taught a piece of trash who tried to lay a hand on my sister, Su Ming casually explained in response to Xian Menghan's question. Finished speaking, Su Ming glanced at the onlookers by the door, frowned slightly, then turned to Su Xiaowei and said softly, Xiaowei, let's go. With that, ignoring the stares of others, Su Ming took Su Xiaowei's hand and led her toward the door of the private room. Xian Menghan watched Su Ming walk past her nonchalantly, with Su Xiaowei, who was clearly at a loss. Her eyes flickered, but remained silent. Stop! The manager shouted as Su Ming prepared to leave. Su Ming's face turned cold, ready to silence the annoying pest. But before Su Ming could act, Xian Menghan pulled out her martial artist identification and said coldly to the manager, I am Xian Menghan from the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. This matter falls under our jurisdiction. If anyone has an issue, tell them to come to the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. Limitless Martial Arts Hall. The manager's pupils contracted upon hearing her words, another figure he couldn't afford to provoke. Seeing the manager silent, Xian Menghan retrieved her credentials and walked over to Su Ming. Su Ming, let's go. Su Ming cast a cold glance at the frozen manager, then nodded to Xian Menghan. The three of them left the crowd gathered at the entrance parted voluntarily, making way for them. As the trio disappeared from sight, the lobby manager clenched his fists, but eventually released them, daring not to stop them further. He could afford to offend neither the St. Guan Martial Arts Hall nor the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. Manager, what now? Several waitstaff from the restaurant approached to ask. What now? Do nothing. The manager muttered inwardly as he saw the waitstaff before him, then spoke aloud. This matter is beyond our involvement. Call an ambulance immediately and send young Master Lin to the hospital for treatment. Hearing this, the waitstaff frantically began dialing. After leaving the restaurant, Su Ming expressed his gratitude to Xian Menghan. Sister Han, thank you. If not for her stepping in today, might not have ended so easily. You saved my life. This little favor is nothing worth mentioning. Xian Menghan shook her head with a smile, but then her expression turned serious. Su Ming, you were too impulsive this time. Lin Tian is different from Cheng Xiong. He is the grandson of the vice director of the St. Guan Martial Arts Hall in Linjiang City. I know. He already stated his identity. Su Ming nodded. Since you knew, why did you? Xian Menghan wanted to lecture him upon hearing his answer, but seeing his expression, she knew it was futile. She shook her head in resignation and changed the subject. Forget it. It's useless to say anything now. Su Ming, why don't you join the Limitless Martial Arts Hall? Join the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. Su Ming raised an eyebrow at her suggestion. Yes, join the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. To be honest, my great uncle is the hall master of the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. With your talent, he will surely take a liking to you. If he favors you, he will definitely settle today's matter for you. Xian Menghan shrugged, revealing a secret she had never shared with anyone. So the hall master of the Limitless Martial Arts Hall is your great uncle. No wonder you dared to speak so boldly in the private room just now. Surprised by her revelation, Su Ming stared at Xian Menghan in astonishment. He had worked part-time at the Limitless Martial Arts Hall for 2.5 years, during which he had met the hall master several times, and had even seen Xian Menghan and the hall master meet face to face. Yet neither of them had shown any hint of their connection. They merely greeted each other in the most ordinary manner, revealing nothing of the deeper relationship. It was rare for Xian Menghan to see Su Ming so taken aback, and she couldn't help but smile, a trace of pride on her face. The Limitless Martial Arts Hall and the Thunderbolt Martial Arts Hall, along with the St. Guan Martial Arts Hall, were the three major martial arts halls of Linjiang City, and they were far from simple. Although the founders of the two halls were not as powerful as the founder of the St. Guan Martial Arts Hall, they were still 8th-rank marquee-level experts. The hall master of the Linjiang City Limitless Martial Arts Hall was a 4th-rank martial artist, slightly stronger than Lin Daoyuan. Given that Lin Tian was in the wrong today, and Su Ming had saved Xian Menghan's life with this bond, even if Su Ming's talent were ordinary, the hall master would protect him, let alone now that Su Ming possessed extraordinary talent. Then I'll follow Sister Han's advice. Su Ming pondered for a moment and finally nodded. Though he was not afraid of Lin Tian's retaliation, he had to think of his family. His younger sister was still young and defenseless, and his mother was bedridden with illness. If not for these concerns, he would have done more than just cripple Lin Tian's right hand. Then let's head to the Limitless Martial Arts Hall now. Seeing Su Ming agree, Xian Ming Han urged eagerly. All right. Afterward, the three hailed a taxi and headed toward the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. Brother, I'm sorry. I only wanted to ease your burden, but instead of helping, I caused you trouble. On the way, Su Xiaowei spoke timidly, her head bowed. Her hands were clenched into fists, her face full of self-reproach. At the same time, Su Ming silently resolved that once his strength was sufficient, he would eliminate Lin Tian and his entire family, completely eradicating this. Had he told Su Xiaowei earlier that he had become a martial artist and could hunt beasts in the underground caverns to earn money, she wouldn't have had to attend classes during the day and then go out to work part-time until late at night. At the same time, Su Ming silently resolved that once his strength was sufficient, he would eliminate Lin Tian and his entire family, completely eradicating this hidden threat. In the dead of night, within the Limitless Martial Arts Hall, all the students who had come for training and the coaches who had been instructing them had already departed. Only the hall master Jiang Lingquan remained. At this moment, Jiang Lingquan stood alone before the gates of the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. I know all the geniuses in Linjiang City who are taking the martial arts examination this year. There are only 3 or 4 who have just broken through to second-rank martial artist, but none of them possess the combat power of a mid-second-rank martial artist. Having the strength of a mid-second-rank martial artist before the martial arts examination and being a genius who has mastered a clever martial art to perfection, such a person has never appeared in Linjiang City. Could Ming Han be deceived? I will see who this so-called genius is. If he dares to deceive Ming Han, even if he saved her life, I will. Jiang Lingquan stood at the entrance, recalling the words Xian Ming Han had spoken to him on the phone not long ago. With his arms crossed and a hint of indignation on his face, he continued to wait. Before long, an SUV stopped in front of Jiang Lingquan. Xian Ming Han was the first to get out, quickly approaching Jiang Lingquan with a smile. Granduncle. With no one else around, Xian Ming Han no longer concealed her relationship with Jiang Lingquan. He Ming Han, this must be the genius you never stop praising, right? Jiang Lingquan also shed the attitude he usually maintained toward Xian Ming Han in front of others. Upon seeing her, his prior expression vanished, replaced by a benevolent smile. Then his gaze turned to the figure behind Xian Ming Han. Behind her, Su Ming and Su Xiaowei stepped out of the car. Upon seeing Jiang Lingquan, a prominent figure in Linjiang City, the siblings respectfully greeted him. Greetings, Hall Master Jiang. On the way here, Xian Ming Han had already told them Jiang Lingquan's name. Good lad. So you truly are a second-rank martial artist. And so young. Could everything Ming Han said be true? Jiang Lingquan's gaze fell upon Su Ming. With his formidable strength, he immediately sensed the formidable blood energy within Su Ming and was taken aback. Oh, is there a flower on my face? Why are you staring at me like that? Su Ming felt a bit uncomfortable under Jiang Lingquan's fixed gaze. Let's talk inside. Jiang Lingquan snapped out of it, coughed awkwardly, and smiled warmly at the two before leading them into the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. Ming Han has already told me the details. That old man Lin Daywan's grandson is indeed in need of discipline. Su Ming, you saved Ming Han's life. For that alone, I will give Lin Dayuan a warning so he doesn't go too far. With your current strength as a second-rank martial artist, you are fully qualified to join the Limitless Martial Arts Hall. However, the treatment you ultimately receive will depend on your ability. Inside the hall, Jiang Lingquan wasted no time on pleasantries. He went straight to the point and led Su Ming to the testing room, glancing at the instruments that were still on. Even though Xian Ming Han had earnestly assured him that every word she spoke was true without any exaggeration, he still wanted to verify it himself. Despite already sensing that Su Ming's blood energy was not weak. These instruments had been turned off after everyone else had left the Limitless Martial Arts Hall, but Jiang Lingquan had switched them back on after receiving Xian Ming Han's call precisely, so he could test Su Ming's strength as soon as he arrived. Su Ming immediately understood that Jiang Lingquan wanted to assess his power. He nodded to Jiang Lingquan and confidently walked toward the testing instruments. Approaching the blood energy tester first, Su Ming placed his finger on it. After collecting a drop of blood from his fingertip and a brief analysis, the instrument displayed a value of 116 blood energy. Seeing that the blood energy exceeded the standard for a second-rank martial artist by 16 points, Jiang Lingquan nodded silently. For someone of Su Ming's age to possess such high blood energy was truly rare. After testing his blood energy, Su Ming did not pause. He moved to the combat target, picked up a test spear from the side, and let his blood energy surge, activating his muscle cells. Then he thrust the spear with full force, executing the cloud-breaking spear to its utmost. Bang! The combat target was nearly blasted away by Su Ming's strike. 100. 300. 1000. The numbers on the combat power tester kept rolling, finally settling at 5800 calories. A 5-fold combat power amplification. Cloud-breaking spear at mastery level. Ming Han did not exaggerate. This youth has truly cultivated a clever martial art to perfection. How old is he? Even at his age, I only mastered a level martial art at an advanced level, and I was still considered a martial arts genius. Su Ming is far better than I was. He is the true martial arts genius. No, not just a genius. He is a monstrous prodigy. Staring at the combat power displayed on the tester, Jiang Lingquan's pupils shrank, and a shockwave rippled through. Even though Xian Ming Han had told him beforehand that Su Ming had perfected the clever martial art cloud-breaking spear until he witnessed it with his own eyes, he still harbored a sliver of doubt. After all, hearing is one thing, seeing is another. Excellent. 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 As Su Ming returned the spear to the weapon rack, Jiang Lingquan took a deep breath to suppress his astonishment and shouted 3 times. Wait, what else is he planning to do? But Su Ming's next movement made Jiang Lingquan's body stiffen, his eyes widening as he fixed his gaze on Su Ming. Beside him, even Xian Ming Han, who thought she knew Su Ming's full capabilities, couldn't help but cover her gaping mouth in disbelief as she stared at Su Ming. Because after placing the test spear back on the rack, Su Ming did not stop testing. Instead, he returned to the combat power tester, reached out, and clenched his hand into a fist in the air. The temperature in the entire testing room dropped noticeably. Then a spear made entirely of crystal clear ice materialized out of thin air. Amidst the stunned gazes of Jiang Lingquan and Xian Ming Han, it shot fiercely toward the combat target. Bang! Crack! The ice spear struck the combat target with a dull thud, and in an instant the entire target was sealed in layers of ice. On the combat power display, the numbers rolled rapidly, once more finally stopping at a combat power of 1000 calories. The combat power shown on the instrument struck like a heavy hammer against the chests of Jiang Lingquan and Xian Ming Han, leaving both gasping for breath. The entire testing room fell into an eerie silence. After a long moment, Jiang Lingquan and Xian Ming Han finally inhaled, sharply staring at Su Ming as if he were a monster. Neither of them had ever expected Su Ming to also be an awakened one, with an ability combat power reaching 1000 calories, a strength no less formidable than that of a late second-rank martial artist. Gulp! A distinct sound of swallowing saliva echoed in the silence. Xian Ming Han turned to Jiang Lingquan, beside her voice trembling. Second, Grandmaster, is our Martial Arts Institute's equipment malfunctioning? This call seemed to awaken Jiang Lingquan from his profound shock. It's not broken, the equipment couldn't possibly be malfunctioning. He jolted suddenly, a look of ecstasy spreading across his face, his gaze shifting sharply from the testing device to fixate intensely on Su Ming, burning as if to melt him. The next moment, to the astonishment of Su Ming and Xian Ming Han, the master of the limitless Martial Arts Institute, who had reigned over Linjiang City for years, abruptly stepped forward. He grabbed Su Ming's hand, clasping it with both hands, then bowed towards Su Ming, speaking with a fawning tone. Young friend Su Ming, I beseech you to join the limitless Martial Arts Institute. Jiang Lingquan no longer bore the imposing demeanor of a formidable figure in Linjiang City, nor the initial disdain he held for Su Ming. Now his only thought was to employ every means, regardless of cost, to bring Su Ming into the limitless Martial Arts Institute. He had originally believed Su Ming's martial arts talent to be monstrously prodigious, but his supernatural talent was even more terrifying, surpassing his martial prowess. To unleash a superpower with a combat power of 1000 at such a young age, even without testing, he could guarantee that Su Ming's ice ability was no lower than a grade. A grade superpower had never appeared in the history of Linjiang City. Su Ming could no longer be described merely as a genius or prodigy. In his eyes, it was nothing short of a miracle. Looking at the nearly sycophantic Jiang Lingquan, Su Ming's mouth twitched slightly. He tried to free his right hand from Jiang Lingquan's grip, only to find himself unable to break free. Forced to smile, he said, Master Jiang, let's sit down and discuss this slowly. Oh, right. Let's sit and talk slowly. Ming Han, forget it, I'll personally brew tea for young friend Su Ming. Ming Han, take young friend Su Ming and his sister to the VIP room. He'll fetch my treasured tea leaves from me. With that, Jiang Lingquan released Su Ming's hand and scurried eagerly toward his office. Is this the same second Grandmaster I know? This scene left Xian Ming Han utterly bewildered. Jiang Lingquan's recent behavior had struck her no less profoundly than Su Ming's earlier revelation. Su Ming, let's wait in the VIP room for now. Taking a deep breath to suppress her shock, Xian Ming Han turned to Su Ming and gestured for him to proceed. Young friend Su Ming, if you nod from this day onward, you will be the most core member of the Limitless Martial Arts Institute, entitled to the highest level of resource allocation. All the resources you need for cultivation, chi and blood powder, spirit pills, weapons, armor, martial arts, meditation techniques. Whatever you require, if our institute has it, if I can obtain it, I will spare no effort to secure it for you. Inside the VIP room, Jiang Lingquan personally poured hot tea for Su Ming, his voice resonating through the chamber, every word carrying weight. He was acutely aware of the future this young man represented. This was no mere recruitment of a genius for the Institute. It was a chance to secure a future pillar for the entire limitless martial arts lineage. One with the potential to surpass the Grandmaster realm to become a marquee-level powerhouse like the founder of the Limitless Martial Arts Institute. Even reaching the legendary king level was not beyond Su Ming's monstrous talent. Such an opportunity was an once-in-a-millennium chance. To miss, it would make Jiang Lingquan a sinner of the Institute. Hearing Jiang Lingquan's pledge, Su Ming's expression turned serious. He fixed his gaze on Jiang Lingquan and said solemnly, "Resources are important, but what I value most is not these. The purpose of my visit tonight to the Institute with Sister Han has always been singular, and I believe Master Jiang is aware of it." As for resources, Su Ming could now hunt fierce beasts himself to accumulate funds, so there was no hurry. But the Vice Master of the Guanxing Martial Arts Institute, Lin Deyuan, posed a grave threat to him and his family. "Indeed. Rest assured, young friend Su Ming. I, Jiang Lingquan, swear that as long as I am in Linjiang City, no one will harm your family." Jiang Lingquan, being astute, nodded immediately at Su Ming's hint. "Thank you, Master Jiang." Seeing Jiang Lingquan's sincerity, Su Ming smiled and made a respectful bow with fists cupped. With the promise of this fourth-order powerhouse, a heavy stone in his heart finally settled. Seeing Su Ming's nod, Jiang Lingquan was overjoyed. He rubbed his hands excitedly and said, "Young friend Su Ming, may I now have you join the Limitless Martial Arts Institute?" At that, Su Ming nodded. "Excellent. Young friend Su Ming, let us sign the agreement now." Delighted, Jiang Lingquan immediately pulled out the prepared documents and placed them before Su Ming. At that, Su Ming nodded. "Excellent. Young friend Su Ming, let us sign the agreement now." Delighted, Jiang Lingquan immediately pulled out as a core member, aside from possibly being required to participate in the annual National Institute ranking battle, he would be free the rest of the time. The Institute would impose no additional conditions on his freedom. Instead, it would offer full support with various cultivation resources. Additionally, there was a confidentiality clause. Any martial arts body forging methods or meditation techniques of grade or above obtained from the Institute could not be transmitted to others. The terms of this agreement were entirely beneficial to Su Ming. Without hesitation, he signed his name, affixed his fingerprint, and submitted his DNA information to finalize the contract. "Su Ming, from this moment you are a core member of the Limitless Martial Arts Institute. This is the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art and a grade body forging method which I obtained by invoking the highest authority of the Linjiang branch and urgently petitioning headquarters." Seeing Su Ming complete the signing, Jiang Lingquan quickly took a USB drive from his pocket and handed it to him. "And a grade body forging method." Hearing those words, Xian Menghan couldn't help but gasp again, her beautiful eyes filled with envy. A grade body forging methods were extremely precious, guarded as secrets by major powers. Even the Martial Artist Association only offered up to grade methods for sale to outsiders. She had heard of the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art. Within the Institute, usually only branch masters were qualified to exchange for it, and the contribution points required were astronomical. At her current rate of earning contribution points, it would take her 100 years to afford it. Yet Su Ming, having just joined, had been granted this a grade body forging method by headquarters through Jiang Lingquan. Such was the treatment of a genius, was it not? Su Ming's eyes lit up as he reached out to take the USB drive that Jiang Lingquan handed over. "And a rank body tempering art. The higher the rank of the body tempering art, the faster the improvement in blood energy through cultivation." Currently, the Drank body tempering art he possessed, combined with blood energy powder, could increase his blood energy by 5 points every day. It was said that an rank art's effect was at least 8 times that of a Drank one. If he could practice the rank art to perfection, wouldn't he gain at least 40 blood energy per day? Originally, Su Ming had estimated that by practicing the Drank art sunrise, he could raise his blood energy to over 160 points before the martial arts college entrance exam. But now with the rank art, if he could master it completely in the remaining 10 days, he could boost his blood energy by at least 400 points. By then taking the college entrance exam with his own blood energy of 500 plus the 5 times combat power burst from his crank perfected cloud-breaking spear martial art, he could unleash 2500 calories of combat power comparable to a beginner 3rd rank martial artist. Even without using his own strength ability, Su Ming was confident he could become the top scorer of Jiangnan province in the martial arts exam. As for why Su Ming was so sure he could master the rank art to perfection, no need to ask. The answer was that he had a system that allowed him to add points. During this period, he had been entering the underground caves daily to hunt beasts, and now his system had accumulated a total of 10830 enhancement points. Even if the rank art was 100 times harder to practice than the Drank art, he could use those 10,000 plus enhancement points to max out the proficiency of the rank art. Director Jiang, let me suppose. What if I were to practice the rank body tempering art, the 100 refinements golden body art to perfection, and then cultivate continuously for 10 hours with my current blood energy level? What should I be aware of? After taking the USB drive containing the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art, Su Ming, despite his excitement, did not forget to ask Jiang Lingchuan. Director Jiang, let me suppose. What if I were to practice the rank body tempering art, the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art to perfection, and then cultivate continuously for 10 hours with my current blood? If you were to practice a more powerful rank art with high intensity, any side effects would surely be far more severe than those of the drink art. Mastering the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art. Young man, you're still too naive. And rank body tempering art is not so easily perfected. Hearing Su Ming's question, Jiang Lingchuan was taken aback, thinking to himself. It wasn't that he underestimated Su Ming, but he knew all too well how difficult the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art truly was. He himself practiced the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art, which he had obtained 40 years ago after performing a great service for the Limit Martial Arts Hall, earning a discount to purchase this rank art. Now 40 years later, he had only reached an intermediate level of proficiency in that rank art. He admitted that Su Ming's martial talent was almost monstrous, but in his view, mastering the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art would require at least 3 to 5 years of hard work. Although Jiang Lingchuan believed it was impossible for Su Ming to master the art in a short time, he still earnestly answered Su Ming's question. The practice of a body tempering art mainly consumes the energy ingested by the body, converting it into one's own blood energy. Supplements like blood energy powder that boost blood energy are certainly important, but ample food supply is also necessary. Ideally, one should use high-rank beast meat rich in energy along with blood energy powder for practicing the art. As long as you maintain sufficient energy replenishment, you can cultivate as long as you wish. Of course, this also depends on one's physical limits. If physical fatigue reaches its limit, even with plenty of energy replenishment, it's difficult to keep going. So that's it. Then it's simple. A glint of light flashed in Su Ming's eyes. Immediately, he stood up and said to Jiang Lingchuan, "Thank you for telling me, Director Jiang. I want to go back and start practicing now, so we'll take my leave." Leaving in such a hurry. It wouldn't hurt to have a cup of tea first. Jiang Lingchuan was startled by Su Ming's sudden farewell and hastily urged him to stay. Seeing this, Su Ming immediately picked up the teacup. A wisp of cold air emanated from his fingertip, instantly cooling the scalding tea to the perfect temperature, and he downed it in one gulp. "Excellent tea. Director Jiang, my sister, and I will take our leave now. Let's catch up another time." Su Ming set down the cup, gave Jiang Lingchuan another fist-palm salute, and then pulled the bewildered Su Xiaowei out of the Limit Martial Arts Hall. Jiang Lingchuan and Xian Minghan were equally bewildered as Su Xiaowei. It was only after Su Ming and Su Xiaowei had left that Jiang Lingchuan snapped back to reality. However, he felt no displeasure at Su Ming's actions. Instead, a look of admiration appeared on his face. With such monstrous talent, yet he still trains so diligently, truly a model for us all. This young man will surely achieve great things. Gazing in the direction Su Ming and the others had gone, Jiang Lingchuan did not spare his praise, then turned to look at Xian Minghan beside him. "Xian Minghan, you found a treasure for our Limit Martial Arts Hall. I will report this to headquarters. With your contribution, the reward from headquarters will be enough to support you in stepping into the 4th rank martial artist realm." 4th rank martial artist. Xian Minghan felt dizzy upon hearing this. Her talent was ordinary. Without any other opportunities, she might forever remain a 2nd-rank martial artist with only a slim hope of breaking through to 3rd rank. Little did she expect that merely recommending Su Ming to the Limit Martial Arts Hall and using the hall's name to intimidate Lin Daoyuan on Su Ming's behalf would bring such tremendous benefits. "I'll take my leave for a while. Remember to close the door when you go." Jiang Lingchuan smiled slightly at the dazed Xian Minghan, not finding it strange at all. After all, if he were in Xian Minghan's shoes and suddenly told that such a great fortune had fallen upon him, his reaction would hardly have been any better. With a faint smile, Jiang Lingchuan stood up and left. Oh, I understand." After being stunned for a while, Xian Minghan finally came to her senses and quickly nodded in agreement. But when she looked around, where was Jiang Lingchuan? Late at night, a luxury car stopped outside the gate of the inpatient building of Linjiang Central Hospital. A grim-faced old man stepped out from the back seat. It was Lin Daoyuan, who had received news that Lin Tian had been beaten and hospitalized. With intense anger pinned up inside, Lin Daoyuan was about to head to Lin Tian's ward to find out who had dared to beat his grandson. However, just as Lin Daoyuan was about to enter the hospital's inpatient building, he suddenly felt a terrifying aura firmly locking onto him, causing him to shudder in alarm. He quickly turned his head to look at a tall, straight figure on the right side of the hospital gate. "Jiang Lingchuan, what do you mean by this?" Lin Daoyuan's face darkened as he shouted at Jiang Lingchuan, who was slowly approaching him. Although his strength was inferior to Jiang Lingchuan's as the deputy master of the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall in Linjiang City, he knew the other party wouldn't dare to do anything to him. "Lin Daoyuan, I've come merely to warn you your worthless grandson today provoked a core member of the Ultimate Martial Arts Hall who was rated grade in potential. Do not bring ruin upon yourself, or even if you were the master of the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall in Linjiang City, you would not bear the responsibility of igniting a war between the two halls. Jiang Lingchuan fixed a grave gaze on Lin Dayuan's gloomy face and delivered the warning in a stern tone. Having said that, he fell silent, merely staring at Lin Dayuan, because he knew that Lin Dayuan was well aware of what inscribed potential core member meant to the ultimate martial arts. Sure enough, the moment Lin Dayuan heard the word inscribed core member, his pupils abruptly constricted. The fury that had been accumulating in his heart vanished in an instant, replaced only by profound dread. A core member rated grade in potential, a monstrous genius with the aptitude to become a lord. Any martial arts hall in the Hanxia country would nurture such a prodigy as their future master. If he dared to lay a finger on a prodigy of this caliber, it would undoubtedly provoke the ultimate martial arts hall into a frenzied retaliation, even willing to engage in an all-out war with the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall. Although the Ultimate Martial Arts Hall was slightly inferior in overall strength to the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall, the gap was negligible. The various halls often engaged in covert conflicts and rivalries, but they never reached the point of open confrontation. The true upper echelons of the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall would certainly not entertain the notion of a life-and-death struggle with the Ultimate Martial Arts Hall. Lin Dayuan understood that if it came to that, the high-level leaders of the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall would unhesitatingly cast him, and even his entire family, out to appease the Ultimate Martial Arts Hall's wrath. After all, he was merely a deputy master of a branch of the Guanxing Martial Arts Hall in Linjiang City. He might hold some status locally, but in the eyes of those truly at the top, he was nothing more than an insignificant ant. Humph, I understand. Weighing all the implications, Lin Dayuan took a deep breath, his expression turning grave, and nodded firmly at Jiang Lingchuan. With that, he cupped his hands toward Jiang Lingchuan in a respectful salute, then stepped through the entrance of the hospital's inpatient building and made his way toward Lin Tian's ward. At least he's sensible. Jiang Lingchuan glanced at Lin Dayuan's retreating figure, a faint smirk curling at the corner of his mouth. The murderous glint deep in his eyes quietly faded away. Had Lin Dayuan not taken the hint, Jiang Lingchuan would not have hesitated to slay him on the spot. Su Ming was worth such a risk. Casting one last look at the inpatient building, Jiang Lingchuan turned and departed, disappearing swiftly into the night. Inside the VIP ward, after emergency treatment, Lin Tian had regained consciousness. His fractured right arm had been set, and the entire limb was now encased in a plaster cast. That damn brat. Once my grandfather gets here, I'll make him dig 3 feet deep to find you, and then force you to kneel before me, and watch me torment that little slut. Lying on the hospital bed, Lin Tian's eyes brimmed with hatred and venom. His mind was filled with the image of Su Ming's dismissive face. That damn brat. Once my grandfather gets here, I'll make him dig 3 feet deep to find you, and then force you to kneel before me, and watch me torment that little slut. Just then the door to the ward swung open. Lin Tian immediately looked toward the entrance and saw Lin Dayuan. Grandfather, you must avenge your grandson. The moment he saw Lin Dayuan, the venomous expression on Lin Tian's face vanished. He scrambled off the bed, crawled to kneel before Lin Dayuan, clutching the old man's thigh with his left hand, while crying and wailing with tears, and snot his face a mask of grievance. Lin Dayuan looked down at Lin Tian, who was sobbing uncontrollably against his trouser leg, the corner of his own mouth twitching slightly. If he hadn't just encountered Jiang Lingchuan, he would have tenderly lifted his only grandson to his feet and sworn to capture everyone who had bullied him. But now, after hearing Jiang Lingchuan's words, the way Lin Dayuan regarded Lin Tian had changed. How did I never notice before that this grandson of mine is so worthless? It seems I've been too indulgent with him, allowing him to develop such an arrogant and domineering character outside. This time he offended someone the Lin family cannot afford to provoke. If I continue to let him follow his own whims and stir up trouble outside someday, he'll bring disaster upon a force we can't withstand, and the entire Lin family will be ruined thanks to this brat. Thought after thought raced through Lin Dayuan's mind, and the more he looked at Lin Tian, the more displeased he became. At that moment, noticing that Lin Dayuan remained unmoved for so long, Lin Tian stealthily lifted his head to peek and saw Lin Dayuan staring at him with furrowed brows and a stern expression. He swore that Lin Dayuan had never looked at him like that before, even during martial arts instruction. Lin Tian's expression stiffened and his voice weakened considerably. But what he received in response was Lin Dayuan's slap. Smack. The resounding slap sent Lin Tian flying off the ground, spinning 2.5 times in midair before landing on the hospital bed with a plop. Stunned by the blow, Lin Tian lay on the bed, clutching his rapidly swelling cheek, staring blankly at Lin, momentarily oblivious to the pain. What's going on? Has grandfather been possessed? He couldn't believe that Lin Dayuan, who usually doted on him, had actually slapped him. You wretched boy. Today you nearly made the entire Lin family perish with you. You'd better use this stay in the hospital to mend your ways and get rid of your nasty habits. If you ever dare to run wild outside again and provoke people you shouldn't, I'll kill you with my own hands and tell your parents to make another child." Glaring at the dumbfounded Lin Tian, Lin Daoyuan shook his sleeve and bellowed in fury. As a third-order peak martial artist, his roar was loud enough to be heard throughout the entire building. After scolding him, Lin Daoyuan ignored Lin Tian entirely, turned around, and stormed out, afraid that he might lose control and deliver a few more slaps. The ward door slammed shut with a bang, jolting Lin Tian out of his stupor. Ouch, Dr. Hua, Dr. Hua. Only then did Lin Tian react. He held his swollen cheek with his left hand, and his freshly set right arm had fractured again. The excruciating pain made him gasp sharply as he frantically called for a doctor. Dr. Hua, who had been standing outside in terrified silence, waited until Lin Daoyuan had left before rushing in with a team of medical staff and quickly ushering Lin Tian back to the operating room. Who was that guy to make grandfather go this far? Judging from grandfather's reaction, even if that man had killed me on the spot, he wouldn't have faced any consequences. Too terrifying. As he was wheeled into the operating room, Lin Tian calmed down, analyzed the situation, and broke out in a cold sweat. He feared death more than anyone. Knowing that Su Ming was not someone he could provoke, he immediately abandoned all the unrealistic notions he had entertained earlier and silently thanked his lucky stars that he had escaped with his life. Meanwhile, at Su Ming's residence on the other side. "Brother, did you purchase all this beast meat to start cultivating that 100 refinements diamond body art tonight?" Su Xiaowei arranged the large table filled with takeout food she had brought back for Su Ming, looking at him curiously. "It's the 100 refinements golden body art." "Oh, I misremember." Su Xiaowei, upon being reminded, immediately showed a look of sudden realization. "All right, go take a bath and rest first. I'll check how this rank body tempering art, the 100 refinements golden body art, is actually cultivated." Su Ming ruffled Su Xiaowei's hair and then turned to enter his own room. "All right, go take a bath and rest first. I'll check how this rank body tempering art, the 100 refinements golden body art, is actually cultivated." Su Ming ruffled Su Xiaowei's hair and then turned to enter his own room. Plugging the USB drive into his computer, Su Ming's screen soon displayed various techniques and complex movements required for the rank body tempering art, the 100 refinements golden body art, accompanied by explanations. The 100 refinements golden body art, a superior rank body tempering art created by one of the three giants of the ultimate martial hall, Lord Sun Jin. When cultivated to perfection, one can condense the 100 refinements golden body, greatly enhancing physical defense. After performing the entire sequence, the time taken for the 100 refinements golden body art was 3 times that of the rising sun. Su Ming stared intently at the 100 refinements golden body art for half an hour, familiarizing himself with its hundreds of movements. Ding, detected a rank body tempering art, 100 refinements golden body art. Would you like to spend 1,000 enhancement points to learn? The system prompt Su Ming had anticipated appeared on time, making his eyes light up. Learn. He chose to learn without hesitation. Ding, acquired a rank body tempering art, 100 refinements golden body art. Current proficiency beginner. You can spend 9,000 enhancement points to raise the proficiency to perfection. Would you like to upgrade? Rumble. As the 1,000 enhancement points were consumed, raising the proficiency of the 100 refinements golden body art to beginner, a sudden flood of blood and chi emerged from an unknown place within Su Ming. This torrent flowed through his entire body, directly merging into every cell. Su Ming felt that in that instant his physical blood and chi had significantly strengthened. Before he could even choose to further increase the proficiency, he eagerly opened his attribute panel. Host Su Ming, blood chi 146, spirit 74, ability crown of ice's body tempering arts, rising sun D perfection, 100 refinements golden body art, a beginner meditation, none martial arts, diamond spear art D perfection, cloud piercer C perfection, enhancement points 9830. It increased my blood and chi by a full 30 points. No wonder the enhancement in my physical body feels so noticeable. And this is just raising the 100 refinements golden body art to the entry level. If I max out the proficiency, how much greater would the boost be? System, max out the proficiency of the 100 refinements golden body art. Seeing his increased blood and chi of 30 points, Su Ming impatiently commanded the system. With Su Ming's mental command, in an instant 9,000 enhancement points surged like a flood into the 100 refinements golden body art, and countless insights into its cultivation flooded his mind. The muscles on his body seemed as if he had personally practiced it millions of times, achieving perfect muscle memory for every movement of the 100 refinements golden body art. Su Ming felt that now he could execute any movement of the 100 refinements golden body art, perfectly maximizing the training effect. Boom. At the same time, an unprecedented torrent of blood and chi was born from some unknown place within Su Ming's body. The scorching flood surged through his limbs and bones like a volcanic eruption. Within this torrent, Su Ming felt as though he was soaking in a hot spring, incredibly comfortable, causing him to involuntarily close his eyes. Simultaneously, every cell in Su Ming's body rejoiced in this torrent, frantically absorbing the rare nourishment of blood and qi. Su Ming felt power surging wildly within his internal organs, being tempered like divine fire, continuously strengthening. When the torrent of blood and qi completely subsided, Su Ming felt as though his body had undergone a rebirth. Every movement contained explosive power, and he even felt ordinary blades could not harm him in the slightest. He felt that one punch from him now could kill a mid-second rank iron-armored rhino in Cave 3. But when he opened his eyes, he discovered that his exposed hands had turned golden. Seeing this change, he instinctively walked to the mirror. Upon looking, he saw that not only his hands, but his entire body had become golden. He was a little golden man. Is this the golden body condensed when the 100 refinements golden body art is perfected? If it always radiates golden light, how can I go out and see? Staring at his glowing golden skin, Su Ming was briefly stunned, but soon an epiphany from his perfect understanding of the art flashed through his mind. In the next second, with a thought, the skin on his body returned to its original color. With another thought, the skin turned. After changing his skin color several times in succession, Su Ming confirmed that he could now freely control the golden body. He breathed a sigh of relief, followed by a surge of ecstasy. Although I have only just condensed the golden body at the primary stage covering the skin, it still doubles my defense. As long as I continue to practice the movements of the 100 refinements golden body art and strengthen my blood and qi, the defense of my golden body will keep increasing. However, the greatest gain from maxing out the 100 refinements golden body art and condensing the golden body is not this, it's the increase in blood and qi. Su Ming murmured to himself and shifted his gaze back to his attribute panel. Host Su Ming, blood qi, Force 16, Spirit 74, Ability, Crown of Ice's Body Tempering Arts, Rising Sun, D Perfection, 100 Refinements Golden Body Art, A Perfection, Meditation, Nun Martial Arts, Diamond Spear Art, D Perfection, Cloud Piercer, C Perfection, Enhancement Points 830. Raising the 100 Refinements Golden Body Art from beginner to perfection had increased his blood and qi by a full 270 points. Boom. Su Ming punched fiercely out the window, causing a sharp crack in the surrounding air. The fist wind left a visible trail in the night sky outside. Even without applying any martial art under the technique of his two perfected spear arts, this punch delivered triple the combat power, enough to make mid-second rank martial artists feel ashamed. The blood and qi gained from raising body tempering art proficiency through the system places no burden on the body. Let me now test how much blood and qi in a rank perfected body tempering art can provide. Su Ming withdrew his fist, feeling his body in excellent condition. He then took out a dose of blood qi powder from his drawer, consumed it, and began performing movements in his room that looked extremely difficult, even inhuman to others. Half an hour later, Su Ming subsequently consumed 4 more portions of blood qi powder before finally completing a full set of movements from the 100 refinements golden body art. As he finished his cultivation, a warm current surged through his entire body, and every cell seemed to cheer with delight. After completing the set of movements, Su Ming opened the system to check his blood qi attribute. Blood qi 419. Half an hour increased blood qi by 3 points, which means 6 points per hour, 12 times the effect of the Rising Sun art. If I maintain 10 hours of cultivation daily, I can gain 60 blood qi per day and 610 days. By the time of the martial arts entrance exam, my blood qi will surpass the 100 mark, meeting the standard for a third-rank martial artist. Seeing his current blood qi value, Su Ming's eyes lit up with barely contained excitement. The 100 refinements golden body art's effect on blood qi enhancement was even stronger than he had imagined. However, the consumption of the 100 refinements golden body art was also far greater than that of the Rising Sun art. Previously, an hour of Rising Sun art required only 1 portion of blood qi powder, but the 100 refinements golden body art demanded 10 portions. Cultivating the 100 refinements golden body art cost as much as 500 credit points per hour just in blood qi powder. To maintain 10 hours of cultivation daily, Su Ming's daily consumption would reach 500 credit points. Adding the 200 credit points needed for 10 spirit pills each day, plus the beast meat required to replenish energy, Su Ming's total daily expenditure would exceed 700. The poor study letters, the rich study martial arts. Such was the truth. Yet Su Ming paid little heed to such immense cultivation costs. Now that he went into the underground caves to hunt beasts, he could earn 3 to 4 million credit points a day just from selling beast materials. He could well afford this expense. What's more, as a core member of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall, Su Ming could simply ask Jiang Lingchuan for these resources if he wished. There are still 25 portions of blood qi powder at home. I'll use them all tonight and go to the Extreme Martial Arts Hall to cultivate tomorrow. After checking the increase in blood qi from cultivating the 100 refinements golden body art, Su Ming closed his system panel and continued consuming blood chi powder to practice. 2.5 hours later, Su Ming emerged from his room, drenched in sweat, then rushed to the living room, like a starving wretch devouring the 10 portions of beast meat on the table with the speed of a whirlwind. Is this the appetite of martial artists? Having heard the commotion, Su Xiaowei stepped out of her room, her eyes wide, as she stared at Su Ming in astonishment. Whoosh! After finishing all the food, Su Ming felt the satisfying fullness in his stomach and let out a long, contented sigh. Just now, after 3 consecutive hours of cultivating the 100 refinements golden body art, the hunger in his abdomen had been unprecedented, so intense that he felt he would faint if he delayed even a moment longer. Blood Chi 434. The 100 refinements golden body art is excellent, but the consumption is truly immense. With my current strength, 3 hours of continuous cultivation is the limit. After alleviating his hunger, Su Ming glanced at his current blood chi and murmured to himself. Then his gaze fell upon Su Xiaowei, who was still staring at him in amazement. Xiaowei, do I have flowers on my face? Seeing her expression, Su Ming couldn't help but smile. No, it's just that your appetite is a bit scary, big brother. Hearing Su Ming's words, Su Xiaowei snapped back to reality, quickly shook her head, and pointed at the messy. Su Ming followed her finger and looked at the dining table, feeling a slight flush of embarrassment. He was about to clean up, but Su Xiaowei stepped forward first. Brother, you go take a shower first. I'll take care of this. Seeing her insistence, Su Ming didn't stand on ceremony. He nodded immediately and turned toward the bathroom. When he came out after showering, Su Xiaowei had already cleaned the dining table spotless, even taking out all the trash to the garbage station downstairs. Seeing this, Su Ming smiled, then took out his phone and said to Su Xiaowei while operating at Xiaowei, I'm transferring 2 million to you. From now on, just stay at school, focus on your studies and cultivation. Don't go out for part-time jobs anymore. Our family isn't short on money now. As soon as his words fell, a message appeared on Su Xiaowei's phone showing a bank transfer of 2 million. Really? 2 million? Brother, this is too much. I can't accept it. Brother, you're a martial artist now. I've heard that martial arts cultivation consumes a lot of resources. You should keep this money for your own training. Improving your strength is what matters. Su Xiaowei stared at the huge sum in her account, her eyes wide, and promptly said with maturity. Su Ming smiled and shook his head. I earn money much more easily now. 2 million is nothing to me. Have you forgotten that I'm a core member of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall? All my cultivation resources will be supplied by the hall. No need to worry. Just keep this money. When you have martial arts classes later, buy some supplementary items like blood chi powder. If it's not enough, ask me for more. Thank you, big brother. Hearing Su Ming's words, Su Xiaowei thought for a moment, then nodded and stopped refusing. 2 million. I've never seen so much money in my life. Thinking of the 2 million in her account at her disposal, Su Xiaowei was thrilled and walked toward her room. But suddenly she remembered something and turned back to look at Su Ming. Oh, by the way, big brother. Our class is organizing an activity. We're going to a hot spring resort the day after tomorrow. Many classmates will have their parents accompany them. Why don't you come and relax too? Even martial artists need to balance work and rest. I won't go. There are only 10 days left until the martial arts entrance exam. I want to improve my strength as much as possible. Su Ming looked at the anticipation on Su Xiaowei's face, but shook his head. All right. Hearing his answer, Su Xiaowei's eyes flickered with a trace of disappointment, but soon she said to Su Ming, big brother, you work so hard. You'll definitely get into the top martial arts academy in the country. Then I'll go rest now. Go ahead, go ahead. Good night, big brother. After exchanging a few words, they each returned to their rooms to rest. The next morning, Su Ming got up, dropped Su Xiaowei off at school, then went to the automobile sales center in Linjiang City, spending 2 million to buy a Tank 10,000 off-road vehicle. The Tank 10,000 was currently the best off-road vehicle in Hanxia, accelerating from 0 to 100 km/h in just 0.8 seconds, with a maximum speed of 300 km/h in the wild. Extremely wild, beloved by martial artists, and the optimal choice for many when traveling in wilderness areas. After purchasing the Tank 10,000, Su Ming drove straight out of Linjiang City, heading toward the No. 2 underground cave 80 kilometers southwest of the city. At his current strength, fighting second-rank beasts in the No. 3 underground cave would yield no training effect. To further enhance his combat experience, he needed to challenge stronger third-rank beasts. The No. 2 underground cave outside Linjiang City contained many third-rank beasts, none exceeding the peak of the third rank, which could meet Su Ming's needs without exposing him to excessive danger. In the wilderness, Su Ming drove the Tank 10,000 racing toward the direction of Cavern No. 2. The off-road vehicle's engine emitted a low, powerful roar like a steel beast. Inside the car, Su Ming gripped the steering wheel, his eyes fixed ahead, while in his mind, he analyzed his own combat power. I currently have 434 blood energy, a base combat power of 4,340 Ka. Executing the perfected cloud-rending spear, my instantaneous burst power can reach 21700 Ka, just crossing the threshold of a third-rank martial artist. But the defense and vitality of third-rank ferocious beasts far surpass those of second rank. With a burst power of 21700 Ka, killing a third-rank early-stage beast would still be a stretch. I must strike its vital points. Moreover, my current grade-scale spear probably won't provide much help in slaying a third-rank early-stage beast. Su Ming glanced sidelong at the scale spear lying on the back seat. After the previous 20 days of intense combat, this grade weapon had suffered considerable wear with even a few chips on the spear tip. These were all caused by his battles in Cavern No. 3 against the tenacious second-rank latest-stage beasts. Although last night's surging blood energy had bolstered his confidence for facing third-rank beasts, he was not blindly arrogant. The gap between third rank and second rank was far greater than that between second and first. Generally, a second-rank peak martial artist or beast had a combat power of around 1800 Ka. However, the threshold for third rank was 200 Ka, a difference of 200 Ka. Do not underestimate that 200 Ka gap. It was enough to allow a beast that had just entered third rank early stage to defeat 10 second-rank peak beasts. Rumble. The 80-kilometer journey was covered in less than 20 minutes thanks to the Tank 10,000's formidable performance. Su Ming slowed down, drove into the military base stationed around Cavern No. 2, then grabbed his weapon and large hiking backpack and headed for the entrance. At Cavern No. 2, the guards were clearly more numerous and the security at the entrance was much stricter than at Cavern No. 3. The station soldiers had stronger auras, almost all of them first-rank martial artists. The squad leader exuded an aura no weaker than that of second-rank martial artists like Xian Minghan and Qing. Coupled with the firearms these men carried and the heavy weapons stationed around the cavern entrance, even a third-rank beast charging out of the cavern would be eliminated by the garrison forces. Far fewer martial artists entered Cavern No. 2 than Cavern No. 3. In the parking area, Su Ming saw only 2 vehicles belonging to outside martial artists, less than a tenth of those at Cavern No. 3. Su Ming was not surprised, however, since the beasts in Cavern No. 2 were far stronger than those in Cavern No. 3. To ensure safety in Cavern No. 2, at least one third-rank martial artist had to lead the team, and all members had to be second-rank. Third-rank martial artists were top-tier experts in Linjiang City, few in number, so naturally fewer martial artists came to hunt in Cavern No. 2. Young man, are you really going into Cavern No. 2 alone? The beasts in this cavern are formidable. With your first-rank awakener, strength rushing in will only cost you your life. It's better to wait until you're stronger. At the entrance, the squad leader verifying identities glanced at Su Ming's martial artist certificate, which still showed first-rank awakener. Seeing Su Ming so young, he couldn't help but advise him. It wasn't that he looked down on Su Ming, rather he saw a rare genius of such a young age, and didn't want to see him throw his life away. Sir, I simply haven't had time to update my assessment at the Martial Artist Association. I am capable of surviving in Cavern No. 2. Su Ming was not swayed. Seeing this, the squad leader did not press further, returned the certificate, and ordered his men to let him pass. Alas, the young are too arrogant. Linjiang City is about to lose another genius. As Su Ming entered the passage, the surrounding soldiers shook their heads and sighed. Inside the cavern, Su Ming passed through the tunnel and had barely entered Cavern No. 2 when a wave of heat struck him. Unlike the environment of Cavern No. 3, the entire Cavern No. 2 was a deep crimson. In the distance, volcanoes belched hot air. The temperature inside the cavern soared above 40 degrees, and the air was thick with the smell of sulfur. Feeling the harsh, flaming mountain-like environment, Su Ming focused his will, and a wisp of cold air materialized, lowering the temperature around him. Much cooler now. Time to move. Su Ming enjoyed the drop in temperature, took out a map of Cavern No. 2, oriented himself, located the nearest area where third-rank early-stage beasts roamed, hefted his spear, and strode deeper into the cavern. The beasts in Cavern No. 2 were indeed stronger than those in Cavern No. 3. Along the way, Su Ming encountered many beasts, most of which were second-rank. In Cavern No. 3, a second-rank beast could only be found in the depths. Facing these second-rank beasts, Su Ming dispatched them all with a single spear thrust, each a one-shot kill. Only second-rank peak beasts could exchange a few moves with him, but they still fell to Su Ming's blade. Their material. After about an hour, Su Ming arrived at a zone littered with crimson rocks where the ground was cracked, and a faint sulfuric odor permeated the air. According to the map, this was the habitat of the third-rank early-stage beast, the two-headed fire lizard. Entering the area where third-rank beasts roamed, Su Ming grew even more cautious, expanding his spiritual perception to its maximum as he advanced on foot. Hiss! Before long, a hissing sound like a venomous snake came from behind a massive boulder ahead. Sensing a scorching aura from the rock, Su Ming's eyes narrowed, and he halted, ready for battle. Soon a giant lizard over 3 meters in length, covered in dark red scales, and bearing 2 ferocious heads, crawled onto the rock and came into Su Ming's line of sight. A third-rank early-stage beast, the two-headed fire lizard. The two-headed fire lizard stood on the rock, its two heads flicking their forked tongues, its pairs of yellow vertical pupils looking down coldly at the intruder, Su Ming, who had trespassed into its territory. On Su Ming, the lizard sensed a frigid aura it found deeply repulsive. The environment of Cavern No. 2 drove nearly all beasts within to be heat-resistant. The two-headed fire lizard, a fire element beast capable of spewing flames from both heads, was innately averse to cold. Su Ming's unwarranted intrusion into the lizard's territory, coupled with the chilling aura around him that the lizard loathed instantly, placed Su Ming on the beast's kill list. Roar! Without warning, both heads of the two-headed fire lizard let out a deafening howl. The next moment it leaped off the rock, landed on all fours, and charged straight at Su Ming. Well struck. As the twin-headed fire lizard charged toward him with a ferocious, unmatched momentum, Su Ming's heart beat slightly faster. Not from fear, but from excitement. Taking a deep breath, Su Ming felt the surging blood and chi within him, and his foot stomped heavily against the ground. Thump! A small crater formed beneath his foot, as his figure shot forth like an arrow from a bow. Cloud-piercing spear. Su Ming let out a low cry, and the fish-scale spear in his hand transformed into a silver bolt of lightning thrusting straight toward the eye socket of one of the twin-headed fire lizard's heads. SSSSSS. The twin-headed fire lizard reacted swiftly, whipping its left head sideways. Its thick scale-covered neck struck the spear tip with precise force. Clang! A deafening metallic clash rang out, sparks flying in all directions. A tremendous rebounding force traveled through the spear shaft. Su Ming's arm numbed slightly as he used the momentum to leap backward. On the twin-headed fire lizard struck neck, only a few cracks appeared on the scales with no real damage inflicted. Such a hard defense. Su Ming was secretly astonished. That strike had been his full power. With the cloud-piercing spear's five-fold combat amplification, his blow had already reached the level of a third-stage initial martial artist, yet it only managed to crack a single scale. Looks like I picked the wrong opponent. After his shock, Su Ming looked once more at the twin-headed fire lizard covered in scales, a helpless smile spreading across his face. If he didn't use his special ability now and relied solely on his physical strength to kill a third-stage initial ferocious beast, he shouldn't have chosen one with such scaly armor. Roar! Without giving Su Ming time to think, the attacked twin-headed fire lizard let out an enraged. Both heads opened their jaws wide simultaneously. The left head spewed a blazing torrent of flame, while the right head expelled a glob of viscous, pungent green venom. Flame and venom interwove, covering a wide area. The temperature skyrocketed, distorting the air itself. Seeing this, Su Ming's expression shifted. He dared not meet it head-on, and swiftly retreated, narrowly evading the strike. After dodging the twin-headed fire lizard's flame attack, Su Ming seized the opportunity and erupted once more. Cloud-piercing spear. His blood and chi exploded forth, concentrating a terrifying combat power of 21700 calories at the tip of the spear. The fish-scale spear hummed with a vibrating buzz, thrusting again toward the other eye of the twin-headed fire lizard. The twin-headed fire lizard seemed to sense the threat of this attack. Both heads retracted simultaneously, using the hardest scales on its forehead to withstand the blow. Boom! Another thunderous impact. The twin-headed fire lizard was jolted back half a step, with fine cracks appearing on its forehead scales, but still no substantial damage was done. Meanwhile, the tip of the fish-scale spear in Su Ming's hand, after 2 consecutive violent collisions, had developed slight curling. Time to replace this broken spear. Su Ming cursed under his breath. Yet the damage to the spear did not make him retreat. He continued to wield it, launching relentless attacks against the twin-headed fire lizard and engaging it in close combat. Su Ming unleashed the full power of his spear technique, nimbly circling the twin-headed fire lizard, striking continuously. The fish-scale spear targeted relatively vulnerable areas such as eyes, mouth, and joints. The twin-headed fire lizard possessed formidable strength and astonishing defense, and its flame and venom attacks covered a wide area, but its speed was comparatively lacking, which granted Su Ming the opportunity to struggle. For a time, figures flew across the field, spear gleams flashed, and flames and venom ravaged the surroundings. Rocks shattered from the shock waves, and the ground was corroded into pits by the venom, a scene of utter chaos. In the blink of an eye, over 100 exchanges had passed. Gradually, Su Ming's breathing grew ragged, sweat beaded on his forehead, and his stamina was greatly depleted. Though the twin-headed fire lizard bore no major wounds, many of its scales were broken, and dark red blood oozed from the gaps in the damaged scales around vulnerable joints. Yet these were merely superficial injuries. These injuries did not diminish the twin-headed fire lizard's state at all. Instead, they ignited its savagery, making its attacks even more ferocious. Although Su Ming's combat strength rivaled that of a third-stage initial martial artist, his chi reserves were less than half of a third-stage martial artist's. Relying solely on his physical body and martial arts, it was nearly impossible to slay the twin-headed fire lizard. Almost enough. If I continue, my strength will be completely spent. Su Ming's thoughts raced, and he made a swift decision. He suddenly leaped backward a great distance, putting space between himself and the twin-headed fire lizard. The twin-headed fire lizard thought Su Ming was fleeing. It let out a triumphant roar and lumbered after him on its thick limbs. At that moment, a cold glint flashed in Su Ming's eyes. In the sea of consciousness within his brow, the majestic ice crown suddenly blazed with dazzling light. An extreme chill erupted from him as the center instantly condensing the moisture in the surrounding air into falling ice crystals. The ground quickly became covered in a layer of white frost. 3 crystal-clear ice spears, each nearly 2 meters long and radiating absolute zero cold, materialized above his head in an instant. Go! Su Ming pointed his finger. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 3 ice spears tore through the air, carrying a freezing aura that could immobilize everything, and shot toward the twin-headed fire lizard in a 3-point formation. SSS. The extreme cold emanating from the 3 speeding ice spears immediately made the twin-headed fire lizard sense a fatal threat. Its 4 vertical pupils showed fear for the first time. Both heads shrieked trying to dodge, but its massive body was simply too slow to react, so it could only twist its heads aside as much as possible. Thud, thud, thud. In the next instant, the 3 ice spears struck the twin-headed fire lizard's body with pinpoint accuracy. Although both heads of the twin-headed fire lizard had evaded the ice spears, all 3 spears plunged deep into its body, piercing through it. The formidable defense of the twin-headed fire lizard's hard crimson scales proved remarkably fragile against the ice spears condensed by Su Ming's fully unleashed grade ice-type ability. Crack, crack. After the 3 ice spears pierced the twin-headed fire lizard's body, the terrifying cold rapidly spread from the wounds. In a blink, the massive beast's frame was frozen solid, its movements came to a complete halt, and even its 2 heads were swiftly encased in ice. As a third-stage ferocious beast with formidable vitality, it did not die immediately upon being frozen. Worse, the flame-spewing head began accumulating a more intense red energy in its mouth, preparing to unleash flames to melt the ice binding it. Die! Su Ming would never give it another chance to escape. He leaped into the air, and the curled fish-scale spear in his hand flared with its final radiance, slamming heavily onto the frozen head. Boom! Under the eruption of immense power, Su Ming's spear directly smashed the frozen head into shards, scattering chunks of ice and blood across the ground. Boom! Another muffled crash. The remaining head of the twin-headed fire lizard was also shattered together with the ice, and the last bit of life essence was utterly crushed by Su Ming. Only a headless ice sculpture remained. Killed 3rd stage initial ferocious beast, twin-headed fire lizard, enhancement points 100. Su Ming leaned on the fish-scale spear, its tip nearly ground flat, and took a deep breath beside the frozen corpse of the twin-headed fire lizard. A 3rd stage ferocious beast is truly not easy to kill. Even though my burst power barely meets the mark, my chi reserves are less than half of a 3rd stage initial martial artist's. In terms of sustained combat ability, I'm still far inferior against a thick-skinned beast like this. I must increase my chi as quickly as possible. But before that, the most urgent task is to earn money and get at least a crade weapon. Otherwise, if I come back to cave, no. 2 will still have to rely on my ability. Su Ming looked at the twin-headed fire lizard's corpse, and then at the nearly ruined fish-scale spear, a helpless, bitter smile crossing his face. Then, with a thought, the ice that encased the twin-headed fire lizard rapidly melted and disappeared. Without the ice support, the headless body of the lizard thudded heavily to the ground. Seeing this, Su Ming quickly stepped forward and began harvesting the most valuable materials from the twin-headed fire lizard. After collecting the valuable materials from the 2-headed fire lizard, Su Ming did not leave, but continued searching the surrounding area for more 2-headed fire lizards. Although his current physical combat power could not kill a 3rd-order initial 2-headed fire lizard with the attribute suppression of his class ability, Ice Emperor's Crown, he could kill a 3rd-order initial 2-headed fire lizard without much difficulty. After more than 3 hours of searching, Su Ming scoured several volcanoes in the activity area of the 2-headed fire lizards, discovering 7 more, all of which he killed. Including the first one, he killed the number of 2-headed fire lizards that had died at Su Ming's hands reached 8. That's about enough. The materials from 8 2-headed fire lizards plus the 2nd-order beast materials I collected earlier, my total harvest from this trip is definitely over 10 million credit points. With the roughly 1 million credit points I still have on hand, I should be able to buy a clever spear at the martial artist. After removing the materials from the last 2-headed fire lizard, Su Ming glanced at his stuffed backpack, stopped delving deeper, and turned back the way he came. Buzz. Half an hour later, at the entrance of No. 2 cave, a peculiar energy fluctuation attracted the attention of the soldiers guarding the entrance. This disturbance. It's not a beast crossing the passage, but a human martial artist. Could it be the War Tiger Squad coming out? The War Tiger Squad has been in No. 2K for 2 full days as surely they must have a substantial harvest. Definitely. The War Tiger squad has 2 third-order martial artists and the rest are all late second order. Every time they enter the cave they bring back tens of millions worth of beast materials. This speed of earning money is enviable. Feeling the commotion at the cave entrance, the nearby soldiers chatted with smiles, envy apparent in many eyes. The squad leader looking toward the cave entrance felt the same. But then they saw Su Ming emerging alone, carrying a backpack taller than himself with a large bundle of beast materials tied outside it. Everyone froze. The area around the cave entrance fell silent, instantly all eyes fixed on Su Ming and his backpack, pupils contracting sharply. Su Ming felt the gazes converging on him, but accustomed to people's shocked stares, he remained unfazed and walked calmly toward the parking area. After loading the items into the spacious trunk of his newly purchased tank 10,000, he drove away from base No. 2. It's him. He actually came out of No. 2 cave alive. Did you all see the materials on his back? Isn't that the hardest scale from the back of a third-order, 2-headed fire lizard? It looks like the scales of a 2-headed fire lizard. My god, he killed one. Could he be a mid-third-order martial artist? Judging by his age, he's probably only around 18. Such a young mid-third-order martial artist. When did Linjiang City produce such a figure? We all misjudged him. Probably he came from some other big city. How could a small place like Linjiang City produce a genius like this? After Su Ming left, the guards near the entrance of No. 2 cave couldn't help but exclaim loudly, their shock like crashing waves that lingered long. Meanwhile, Su Ming drove quickly to the Linjiang City Martial Artist Association. Under the incredulous gaze of the material procurement officer, he emptied all the materials he had brought back from No. 2 cave. Third-order beast, 2-headed fire lizard's back armor. Su Ming, did you kill all these? Yes. Su Ming nodded. Hiss. Hearing this, the material procurement officer drew in a sharp breath. In recent days, Su Ming had come to the Martial Artist Association every morning carrying a large bag of beast materials, and the procurement officer had become quite familiar with him, and was also the one most aware of the speed of Su Ming's progress. Seeing that in just 20 days, Su Ming's kills had escalated from first order to late second order, the procurement officer already considered him an unprecedented martial arts prodigy in Linjiang City. But now, seeing the materials from 8 2-headed fire lizards spread before her, she realized she had still underestimated Su Ming. He was no martial arts prodigy. He was a monster. After a deep glance at Su Ming, the procurement officer began quickly tallying the beast materials before her. Su Ming, the total for this batch is 13.85 million credit points. Please check if it's correct. If everything's fine, we'll close the deal. Her movements were practiced. Within less than 3 minutes, she had calculated the price of the beast materials Su Ming brought back. Su Ming had no objections. The transaction was completed swiftly, and more than 13 million credit points were added to his account. Combined with the remaining balance, he had just over 15 million. After selling the beast materials, Su Ming walked toward the weapon display case, and soon spotted a clever weapon. 100 temper spear, clever weapon forged from the spine of a 4th-order Silver Moon Wolf King, fused with meteorite iron through 1,000 temperings. Price 15 million credit points. Exactly 15 million credit points. Perfect. He'll take this 100 temper spear. Seeing the clever weapon priced at 15 million credit points, Su Ming immediately stepped forward to complete the purchase. Excellent spear. Grasping the 100 temper spear, Su Ming gave it a casual swing and couldn't help but praise. This 100 temper spear was far superior to the fish scale spear he had used before. If he had wielded this spear in No. 2 cave, he wouldn't have struggled so much against the 2-headed fire lizards. At the very least, the scales of the 2-headed fire lizard could not withstand the full force of the 100 temper spear. Storing the spear, Su Ming left the Martial Artist Association and drove to the Limit Martial Arts Gym. As Su Ming arrived at the entrance of the Limit Martial Arts Gym, he bumped into Xian Meng Han, who was just coming out. The moment she saw him, her eyes lit up, and she called out warmly, Su Ming. Sister Han. Su Ming nodded in response, then stated his purpose directly. Sister Han, I plan to train here every day until the martial arts exam. Does the gym have any training rooms available? Yes, of course. Follow me. Xian Meng Han immediately led Su Ming enthusiastically into the gym. Su Ming, this is the best training room in the Limit Martial Arts Gym. It used to be the master's personal training space, but the master informed me today that from now on this room is your exclusive training room. The inner walls of this training room are made of high-strength memory alloy capable of withstanding attacks from 4th-order experts. Any damage is automatically repaired, so you can practice your martial arts to your heart's content in here. There's also a food delivery chute. If you get hungry, you can order directly from the panel, and the dishes will be sent up through the chute within 20 minutes, then kept warm in a thermal chamber for your convenience. Bringing Su Ming to a training room spanning over 200 square meters, Xian Meng Han introduced each feature. Su Ming nodded silently as he looked at the spacious training room before him. Training here was far more convenient than in his own room. Su Ming, if you need anything else, just say the word. The master said that whatever you asked for the gym must do its utmost. After finishing her introduction, Xian Menghan turned back to Su Ming. I still need 100 portions of blood chi powder and 10 mind nourishing pills for today's cultivation. Su Ming did not stand on ceremony with Xian Menghan directly stating the resources required for his upcoming training. How many? 100 portions of blood chi powder. Upon hearing the quantity, Su Ming requested. Xian Menghan's eyes flew wide open. 100 portions of blood chi powder was not a significant burden for the Extreme Martial Arts Hall, but the crucial point was that Su Ming needed them for use that very day. Using 100 portions in a single day, what did that even mean? Even a genuine third-rank martial artist could at most use 10 portions of blood chi powder in a day. Su Ming's chi and blood had barely surpassed the threshold of a second-rank martial artist during yesterday's test. She racked her brains, but could not fathom why he would need so much. Yet when Xian Menghan saw Su Ming nod at her with a calm expression, she could only suppress the shock and confusion within her. Alright, I understand. They'll go fetch them for you immediately. With that, Xian Menghan turned and left. However, instead of promptly retrieving the needed resources for Su Ming, she first rushed to Jiang Lingquan's office to inform him of the news. What? Su Ming himself said he needs 100 portions of blood chi powder in a single day. After hearing Xian Menghan's words, Jiang Lingquan shot up from his seat, his eyes wide with astonishment. Xian Menghan did not grasp the implications of this, but he, having cultivated the 100 refinements golden body technique, understood all too well. The more powerful and proficient a martial artist's body tempering method, the greater the efficiency and speed of absorbing blood chi powder. When he currently practiced the 100 refinements golden body technique, he could absorb just over 30 portions of blood chi powder a day, merely a third of Su Ming's usage. This was despite having advanced his mastery of the 100 refinements golden body technique to the intermediate level, which allowed him to gain over a dozen points of chi and blood from a day's cultivation. Now Xian Menghan was telling him that Su Ming required 100 portions of blood chi powder daily for his cultivation of the very same technique. Didn't this imply that Su Ming's proficiency in the 100 refinements golden body technique surpassed his own? But just yesterday, Su Ming had only obtained the 100 refinements golden body technique, while he himself had been practicing it for 4 decades. To master the rank body tempering technique, the 100 refinements golden body technique overnight, to a degree surpassing his 40 years of arduous training. How was that possible? Menghan, you don't need to go. I will personally deliver these resources to Su Ming. Jiang Lingquan's mind raced, and moments later, he spoke to Xian Menghan. No sooner had he spoken than, without waiting for Xian Menghan's response, he dashed out of the office at a speed so swift that she could only perceive a blurry afterimage. Hallmaster, why are you here? At the entrance of the training chamber, Su Ming, who had been waiting for Xian Menghan to bring the cultivation resources, looked at the flustered Jiang Lingquan with surprise. I've come to deliver your cultivation resources, the 100 portions of blood chi powder and 10 mind nourishing pills you requested. Su Ming, I came specifically to ask, did you take a look at the 100 refinements golden body technique yesterday? Do you find it difficult to cultivate? Jiang Lingquan, noticing Su Ming's astonished expression, quickly put on an ingratiating smile, slightly bowed, and offered the resources with both hands. Upon hearing Jiang Lingquan's inquiry, Su Ming immediately understood why he had come in such a hurry. He must have heard about his request for 100 portions of blood chi powder and deduced that he had already successfully cultivated the 100 refinements golden body technique. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked such a question. Realizing why Jiang Lingquan had personally come to deliver the resources, Su Ming saw no reason to be evasive and replied, "It's manageable, not too difficult." "So you've succeeded?" Su Ming's answer made Jiang Lingquan's eyes light up. Su Ming said nothing more, but responded with action. He consumed 5 portions of blood chi powder at once, and under Jiang Lingquan's astonished gaze began to practice the rank body tempering technique, the 100 refinements golden body technique. He actually mastered it. The movements are so fluid, far superior to mine, at least advanced proficiency, perhaps even perfection. Achieving mastery in an rank body tempering technique overnight. Am I dreaming? Then what about my 40 years of bitter training that only got me to intermediate proficiency? Jiang Lingquan watched as Su Ming executed each difficult body tempering move with a perfection that even surpassed the motions of the Grandmaster in the instructional video, saved on the USB drive. His pupils contracted violently, and he stood frozen as if turned to stone. At that moment, Jiang Lingquan's heart felt like a stampede of 10,000 wild horses thundering through it. His shock beyond measure. He was certain that in his 80-plus years of life he had never encountered such a profound astonishment, nor had he ever felt so utterly worthless as he did at this moment. Such terrifying martial talent. Even prodigy isn't enough to describe it. That Su Ming is... After a long moment, Jiang Lingquan finally regained his composure, cast a profound glance at Su Ming, who was still practicing the 100 refinements golden body technique, and silently withdrew from the training chamber, careful not to disturb him. A monster, an absolute monster. The gap between people is truly too vast. Comparing oneself to Su Ming only invites frustration, it's too disheartening. Not until he had left the training chamber did Jiang Lingquan mutter a few words under his breath, shaking his head continuously as he headed back to his office. Even after returning to his office, Jiang Lingquan still muttered the word monster to himself, shaking his head. What's wrong with second grandpa? Seeing this, as she stepped out of her office, Xian Menghen was filled with confusion. Time passed swiftly, and it was already approaching midnight. Only Su Ming and Jiang Lingquan remained in the entire extreme martial arts hall. Outside the training chamber, Jiang Lingquan stood silently by the door waiting without disturbing Su Ming. He's been cultivating from 1 p.m. until now 11 p.m., 10 hours straight without a break. That Su Ming kid has not only monstrous talent, but also monstrous willpower. With both talent and perseverance, how could such a person fail to achieve greatness? Glancing at the time, Jiang Lingquan's face flickered with deep admiration. Then, recollecting the information he had uncovered while investigating Su Ming's student records today, when he planned to have Su Ming take the martial arts examination as a representative of the Extreme Martial Arts Hall to promote it, his expression twisted into one of indignation and sneering. That old fool Wang Jinghua must have been blind. A genius like Su Ming, and he expelled him. He's dumber than a... When the Martial University exam results are released, I can't wait to see the look on that old man's face. It's bound to be priceless. With a soft chuckle, Jiang Lingquan's gaze fell upon a long box standing beside him, and a glimmer of hope flashed in his eyes. I hope Su Ming will think highly of this Renjin battle suit of mine. It's the only thing I have that's worth offering. The Renjin battle suit was a top-tier crank combat suit he had purchased with all his savings back when he was at the peak of the 3rd rank. The Renjin battlesuit could protect a martial artist from attacks below the mid-4th rank, and could completely negate assaults below the mid-3rd rank. For late 3rd rank attacks, the Renjin battlesuit could reduce their power by 70%, for peak 3rd rank attacks by 50%, and even against early 4th rank attacks it could diminish their force by 20%. For martial artists below the 4th rank, the Renjin battlesuit was undoubtedly an excellent life-saving item. Originally, Jiang Lingquan had intended to keep the Renjin battlesuit for an outstanding descendant of his family. But after witnessing Su Ming's terrifying talent, he immediately decided to give it to him as a gift, hoping to forge a bond of goodwill. Su Ming stepped out of the bathroom in the cultivation room. A hot bath after training is truly comfortable. The training room at the Limitless Martial Arts Academy is indeed much more convenient than home. With that, Su Ming walked to the dining table, took out a large pile of beast meat that had been kept warm in the warmer since afternoon, and began to eat heartily. After more than 10 minutes, Su Ming rose contentedly and left. After he left, the intelligence system in the training room automatically cleaned the table. Dong! The training room doors slid open automatically to both sides, and Su Ming saw Jiang Lingquan waiting at the entrance. Master of the hall. Seeing Jiang Lingquan, Su Ming greeted him with slight surprise. He hadn't expected that Jiang Lingquan would still be here at this hour. Moreover, judging by his appearance, it seemed he was waiting specifically for him. Su Ming, it seems you've made quite a harvest today. The moment Jiang Lingquan saw Su Ming, his gaze sharpened. He noticed that Su Ming's blood and chi seemed much stronger than when he had seen him in the afternoon. Not bad. Su Ming glanced at the system panel, showing his blood, and chi had reached 495, a slight smile curling at the corner of his mouth. Then he looked at Jiang Lingquan. Master of the hall, are you waiting for me specifically? Indeed, I have something to give you. This is my personal treasure, a class combat suit, the Renjin battle suit. I heard from Ming Han that you often go down into the underground caverns alone to fight beasts. This Renjin battlesuit will protect you from beasts below the mid-3rd stage, and even against attacks from early 4th stage beasts, it can offset 20% of the power. Jiang Lingquan nodded, then pushed the box in his hand towards Su Ming. He deliberately emphasized that the Renjin battlesuit was his personal treasure. Indeed, it's the Renjin battlesuit. After hearing Jiang Lingquan's words, Su Ming opened the box and was taken aback when he saw the suit inside. Although the Renjin battlesuit and the Baiduan spear he had just purchased were both classed, the Renjin battlesuit was a complete set that could protect a martial artist from head to toe, requiring far more material than a single weapon. Thus, the price of a suit of the same level was at least 10 times that of a single weapon. Among all the class combat suits currently sold in Hanxiao, the Renjin battlesuit was the finest, its value far exceeding that of other suits. To purchase a Renjin battlesuit, at least 500 million credit points were required. Even with his current earning speed, he would need to work hard for a month to scrape together enough money to buy a Renjin battle suit, and even then, it was hard to find on the market. Even if he had the money, it might not be available. He never expected that Jiang Lingquan had waited so long just to give him a Renjin battle suit. Seeing the surprise on Su Ming's face and the burning look in his eyes fixed on the Renjin battle suit, Jiang Lingquan knew that the gift was exactly to Su Ming's liking. He immediately suggested, Su Ming, the Rinjin battlesuit can automatically conform to the wearer's body. Drop a drop of blood here to establish a mental connection, then put it on and try it. Without being overly modest, Su Ming bit his finger, and following Jiang Lingquan's instructions, dripped a drop of blood onto a faintly glowing blue nameplate on the Rinjin battlesuit's chest. Soon he felt a mental connection established with the suit. He immediately took out the Rinjin battlesuit and put it on. At first glance, the Rinjin battlesuit looked like an ordinary coat, but as soon as Su Ming wore it and moved his intent, the suit seemed alive. Its material flowed like water, quickly conforming to Su Ming's body, covering him entirely in the blink of an eye. In less than 3 seconds, Su Ming was enveloped from head to toe in a dark golden suit, which now appeared as a seamless, streamlined armor form. At this moment, Su Ming looked like a protagonist clad in armor from a special effects drama, majestic and imposing. With another thought, the suit returned to the form of an ordinary coat, quite miraculous. What a treasure! After testing the mysterious properties of the Rinjin battlesuit, Su Ming couldn't help exclaiming, "I'm glad you like it. From now on, this suit is yours." Seeing Su Ming's satisfaction, a smile appeared on Jiang Lingquan's face. "Thank you, Master of the Hall." Su Ming nodded in gratitude, mentally noting the favor. After all, the Rinjin battlesuit was a significant help in boosting his current strength. With this suit, even if he encountered a peak third-stage beast in the cavern, he could protect himself without worry. The two talked for a while longer, then Su Ming took his leave and went home. After practicing the Balian Jinshinju for 10 hours, although his blood and chi had increased significantly, his body was extremely tired and needed rest. Tomorrow morning, he would go down to the cavern to continue hunting beasts. As soon as Su Ming returned home, Su Xiaowei, hearing the noise, dashed out of her room. "Brother, why are you back so late?" "I went to the martial arts academy to train." "And you little girl, why aren't you asleep yet?" "It's already past 1 in the morning." Su Ming explained, then put on an adult air and said to Su Xiaowei, "I'm just too excited to sleep because there's a class activity tomorrow. Brother, don't you want to come with me and relax a bit?" Seeing Su Ming's feigned scolding expression, Su Xiaowei was not afraid at all. "You go ahead and have fun." Su Ming shook his head and walked toward his room. "I'm going to sleep now. You should rest early too. Staying up late is bad for your health." "Oh, okay." The next day, cavern. Boom. A dull sound rang out and a dark golden figure was seen skidding across the ground, leaving 2 drag marks over 10 meters long. This Rinjin battlesuit is truly formidable. Withstanding the attack of an early third-stage flamen lion, aside from being knocked back, I suffered no harm. The dark golden figure was Su Ming, clad in the Rinjin battlesuit. A slight smile curled beneath the suit as he gathered strength in his legs and charged at the flamed lion once more. On the other side, a flamed lion with crimson fur 4 meters in length also stumbled back dozens of meters. Its lion eyes, filled with uncertainty and surprise, stared at the dark golden figure it had just repelled. It had lost count of how many times it had knocked the opponent back. The opponent was like an indestructible cockroach. Every time it was repelled, it would charge again. Boom. Before the flamen lion could catch its breath, the dark golden figure that had just been knocked back stomped the ground, leaving a cracked crater, and shot toward it like a cannonball. A spear tip gleamed with sharp, cold light, thrusting straight at it. Roar! Seeing this, the flamen lion let out another furious roar, pushed off the ground with all its limbs, and charged forward fearlessly. In a flash, it swiped its claws, colliding once more with Su Ming's thrusting spear. With a bang, both Su Ming and the flamen lion were sent flying back over 10 meters, but the next moment they both charged toward each other almost simultaneously. Boom! The two exchanged furious blows, the deafening dull sounds echoing among the nearby rocks.